I'm Kendall Brentig.
Complete windscreen supply and fit, front, rear and door glass. Proudly South Australian since 1976.
Israel is forming an emergency war cabinet as the country grapples with the worst security crisis in decades. 1,200 people have been killed in Israel after Hamas launched terrorist attacks. More than 1,100 have been killed in airstrikes on the Gaza Strip as Israel prepares to mount a major offensive. A total blockade's now in place over Gaza, where a humanitarian crisis is unfolding after the Seoul power plant ran out of fuel and shut down. Mohammed's in Gaza and says innocent people are being caught up in the crossfire.
People behind us were killed. There are barrel bombs that exploded all over the area. Homes were destroyed. Everything is gone. No one can enter their homes. There's no food, nowhere to live. We can't even eat or feed our children. We can't live like this.
While thousands of people have attended a vigil in Sydney's eastern suburbs to remember those killed in the Middle East, Clinton Maynard was there.
Many of Sydney's Jewish community admit they feel scared after witnessing what happened at the Opera House, but they've come together in Dover Heights, showing strength and courage. Premier Chris Minns apologising to the crowd for what happened on Monday.
I acknowledge that some of that hatred was seen in your own city, and I'm deeply, deeply sorry for it.
Mr Minns telling the very appreciative gathering he doesn't want to live in a state where that's allowed to happen. Jewish Board of Deputies President David Kosh thanking the police for all they're doing to keep them safe. In Sydney, Clinton Maynard, 9 News.
And 2 repatriation flights have been locked in to leave tomorrow to help Australians stranded in Israel return home. There's concern about commercial airlines cutting services to Tel Aviv as fighting intensifies. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says it's still unclear how many Australians have been caught up.
Part of the issue, of course, is there are so many Australians in the area that it's not completely clear how many are there, let alone how many are unaccounted for. So what we're doing is working through these issues.
Journalist Chung Lei is back home after being freed from a Chinese prison after 3 years in detention. More from Michael Packey in Canberra.
Chung Lei has arrived in Melbourne and been reunited with her 2 children and broader family. Ms Chung had been detained in Beijing since 2020 amid claims she posed a national security risk. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says she's cleared China's legal hurdles and was able to be released.
This is an outcome that the Australian government has been seeking for a long period of time.
Security expert Michael Shoebridge believes the government's more measured approach to dealing with China is working.
And they want to reward the Albanese government for being much quieter about the problems that China's making for us and others.
Ms Chung will continue to receive consular assistance while work is being done to release another Australian, Yang Hengjun.
Memorial services will take place around the country today, marking 21 years since the Bali bombings. 202 people were killed, including 88 Australians. And the last of the debris from the Titan submersible has been recovered. All 5 passengers on board were killed when it imploded less than 2 hours into a trip to the wreck of the Titanic. Forensic testing is underway on the debris. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Port Adelaide big man Ollie Lord could be a player being thrown up as a potential target from Geelong as the trade period enters day 4. The Power are keen to get Cats defender Asava Radikalia to the club, but it's unlikely the Power's second-round selection will get a deal done. Lord still has a year to run on his current deal and went to Geelong Grammar. Meantime, Sydney believes recruiting Taylor Adams, Brodie Grundy, James Jordan and Joel Hamling will blend well with their young players. To cricket now, Australia will wait for the toss to name its 11 for tonight's World Cup clash against South Africa. Marcus Stoinis is expected to come into the side for fellow all-rounder Cameron Green. The Aussies out to rebound following a first-game loss to India. Captain Pat Cummins says they need to improve in the middle overs.
That period of the game seems to be the most important in one-day cricket, and you know it's the same for our bowling group. We've got to try and find ways to create wickets. It's tough sometimes to force something in the middle if there's a partnership on.
And there was one match on last night with India easily beating Afghanistan by 8 wickets to make it 2 from 2 to begin their campaign. And in some tennis to finish, Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz has gone down in 3 sets in the 4th round of the Shanghai Masters to Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or two and 19 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 19. A shower or two Saturday, 19, and more of the same on Sunday. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on 5AA Breakfast. Hope you enjoyed the heat yesterday because it's long gone now. Rain this morning if you haven't woken up yet. Expect a little bit of drizzle on the lawn or on the car if it's parked out on the street. You can expect the return of the glass milk bottle. After 6:30, we're going to be chatting with the GM of FIVEAA Milk Company, Nick Hutchinson. This is great. This is a great initiative. This is part of combating the overabundance of plastic in the community effectively. And, you know, everything that's old is new again, as they say. The glass milk bottle is making a comeback, a refill keg format that will involve the central market. We'll take you through it all after 6:30 this morning. We're also going to chat with Arsen Ostrovsky, who is a human rights lawyer, an Australian who calls Tel Aviv in Israel home. Just get a sense of what life is like in the Israeli capital right now, what the sense is on the street. We'll have a chat with him just before 7 o'clock today. Then, as the issues pertain to South Australia, the Assistant Commissioner Scott Duvall will be on after 7 o'clock about the protest action plan for Sunday. Now, the Jewish community here has said this thing just shouldn't go ahead based on what we saw in Sydney. The Assistant Commissioner is in charge of the operations governing how that will be overseen. We'll be chatting with him at 7 o'clock. And, of course, it's a Thursday morning. Matt Abraham, David Kosh as well. It's a huge morning on the show. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. I, for one, am extremely excited about the return of the glass milk bottle. I can remember from my childhood certain things about the glass milk bottle, because back then in the 70s, I think it was one of my jobs. I used to get 50 cents a week pocket money, and I'd go and get the milk and the paper in the morning, because the milkie would bring the milk. And I used to love the little foil cap, and how in the morning there would always be dew on the bottles.
Yeah,
because they'd often sit there for a good hour or so.
If you got there first, you got the cream on top, didn't you?
Oh, the cream, and it was such good milk for making. Like, I can remember Mum's mashed potatoes. They had this real creaminess to them, and it came from using that proper, milk with fat in it.
When do you think...
Because fat is flavour, Will. I always say that.
Absolutely is. When do you think the last milk run was in South Australia? I was talking about this with a group of people yesterday, and no one could put a date on it. Some said late 70s, some said early 80s.
I reckon when it stopped being a mainstream thing was probably about 1977, 78,
okay, that early.
I'm guessing. Maybe it was later. We'd have former milkies.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone can put a date on it. When did it essentially wrap up in South Australia?
822300.
Isn't it funny how things come back, though? I mean,
there's a certain... It's like record players.
Absolutely.
Everyone worked out, geez, records sound good, don't they? What are we going to throw all of them out in 1985 for? I'm interested to know what the dimensions are going to be. Is it going to be a litre, or is it going to be 600 mils?
No, I think it's going to be pretty big, because the idea is you go to the central market and you refill it, basically. So you wouldn't want to be doing that with a 600 mil.
There's there's hipsters who do that with beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can get beer refills. I'm not sure if they're in glass or in...
What's the receptacle?
It's called it's got some weird name. Like, it starts with G.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen men with underbeards doing it.
I've seen, you've always got a mate who does homebrew, and you've got like 72 bottles of, like former bottles of 7-Up in the garage.
I've never drunk homebrew that's been any good.
No, I'm with you. I don't think it's
possible. A mate of mine made homebrew once, and accidentally, it was like Howard Florey. He made he created a new bacillus somehow in it.
Right.
And I remember once going around to his house, he said, do you want to try some of my homebrew? He said, it's a bit fizzy.
Oh.
And he said, I'm just going to get some out of the shed. And then he proceeded to come out of the laundry holding a welding mask over his face. And I said, what do you need that for? He said, every now and then the bottles explode. And I said, mate, if the bottles are exploding, and you're using that to shield yourself from shards of glass, I don't know if I want to drink any,
Doesn't sound like it's going well.
But I tasted something putrid.
Was it early kombucha that he was basically
I think it
developing?
was. It actually it had a similar sort of, you know, like having one of those little yogurt shots to keep your gut fit.
What do they
Except
call
it was meant to be stout or something. It was putrid.
What do they call the living mass in the bottle of vinegar that you sometimes get? The spirit?
The floor.
Is the floor, is that what it's called, is it?
That's what it's called in Portuguese. Floor is like the yeast.
Yeah, and sometimes...
It means flour.
The living culture you get.
Yeah. It's called floor, I think, in vinegar, isn't it?
Okay. Oh, no, it could be, yeah. I was just wondering if he may have developed something similar for the purpose of
maybe
brew.
Maybe he's going to live to 110, because he's been
maybe
drinking fizzing stout that he can only access with a welding mask. He became a doctor, I think.
Oh, okay.
Got to help his patients. He's a very funny bloke. But yeah, I think if we're going to bring back the glass milk bottle, can we get the milky back too?
Yeah, well, I think if this takes off, presumably the next step is, and you know, convenience being above all else, having to go to the central markets is one thing.
I'll tell you what, having 3 boys in the house during school holidays, I've almost needed to take out a second mortgage. The amount of food and milk and fruit that they've gone through. The other day I bought 14 Granny Smith apples from Manny at the Goodwood Fruit Shop. They were gone the next day. Well, that's like 3 kilos almost of apples. But I bought 3 litres of milk yesterday morning, and last night when I was going to bed, Kate said, "Can you get some milk on the way home tomorrow?" And I went, "Well, I just got milk." So we need, like, if the milky could come back, if he could come to our house during school holidays once every 3 to 4 hours so we can replenish, that'd be terrific.
Well, some people go, "Oh, it's that kind of thing's never coming back." But is it a long walk from this new world where home delivery from supermarkets has never been more accessible? In fact, they encourage it now.
Yeah,
they get the people
it.
that pick it, they deliver it to you with a subscription for free if you have a subscription to any of them. It's not unimaginable that as part of that service you're getting glass milk bottles delivered, if that's the way we ultimately go. Lots of Dutton's text coming through on this at the moment. Wally the Walnut says, "I reckon the milk run stopped mid to late 80s. I remember taking one on my way home from the Woody pub." Woody pub?
The Woody pub.
The Woody. What's the Woody? Growler is the vessel in which you refill beer.
That's right, Growler.
The Growler. Thank you to a couple of our listeners. Tony in Montague Farm, one of them as well, says they're available from the awesome Lobethal Beer House. Actually, Christine from Lobethal made an observation that's running there at the moment as well. Someone says, pretty sure Allenby Gardens had the last milk delivery by a horse-driven cart in the early to mid-80s.
Wow.
One person says, I remember we had a milkman in 1998.
That's pretty recent. 98?
Wow. Surely not.
Was that in the city or the country, I wonder?
Mother of vinegar. That's the thing.
Mother.
Also. The mother of vinegar.
The mother. Thanks, Adrian. And thanks other folks too.
All right, it is 13 minutes after 6. We're going to take a break and get to the news headlines in just a moment. First, Sue in Mylor has called in. Morning to you, Sue.
Yeah, morning, guys. You're talking about milk deliveries. My father was a milkman from the 60s right through into the 70s. He delivered from the top of Mount Lofty all the way through almost to Achunga. We were still getting milk delivered here into the 90s, early 90s. The biggest trouble we found, because back then we still had billies. He used to deliver milk and put it in people's billy cans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was fascinating.
Wow.
He would have the big cans and he would tip it into people's billies, take the money out.
Like those big upright ones they still use in the sideshows during the show.
Oh, yeah, well, people used to put out everything from saucepans to glass jars to put the milk in.
Wow.
The problem with that was that the possums and that could get into the milk. But the trouble with the alfoil, the foil lids on the bottles was that the magpies would peck a hole in the top and eat the cream, which was an issue.
Something to be wary of. Sue, thank you. Appreciate the call. 8223 is the number. You can text us as well on the Dutton's text line. We're going to take a quick break. Jump into the news headlines next.
How to be excellent at home. Pop off those shoes, put on those house pants, pop on the kettle or pop a bottle. Let's get comfy. And before you reach for the remote, reach for the Frederick Street finest. Will it be apricot and coconut slice, dark chocolate cranberries, or spicy baked crackers? Look for Frederick Street finest in the fancy blue packet at your local Drake's supermarket. Be excellent anywhere with Frederick Street finest, devoted to excellence.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
If it pops, or if it twists, you'll find it at FIVEAA. If it comes in a can, or is best in a glass, you'll find it at FIVEAA. If you serve it on the rocks, or with a paper umbrella. In fact, whether it's wine, beer or spirits, whatever you fancy, you'll find it at FIVEAA. FIVEAA, your local independent SA family liquor stores.
The Nissan Qashqai has been awarded the 2023 Drive Car of the Year Best Small SUV. And with Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses, you can drive the award-winning Nissan Qashqai ST for competitive weekly repayments that include the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Know someone finishing school and looking for an apprenticeship or a traineeship? Visit maxima.com.au.
17 after 6, news headlines time on this Thursday morning. Israel has formed an emergency government, inviting senior opposition members and former Defence Minister Benny Gantz into the government as fighting now continues for the fifth day. The move comes as a rocket fired from the Gaza Strip has hit a children's hospital in the southern Israeli city of Ashkelon. Parents are being urged to get their children off TikTok and Instagram during the conflict in Israel. Parents from Jewish schools have been warned to delete the social media apps from their kids' phones after Hamas threatened to live stream the slayings of dozens of captured civilians. It's unavoidable at the moment.
Well, I actually think that warning should apply to adults too.
I agree.
Like, I was actually thinking last night, I haven't done it yet, and the main reason I haven't done it is because the only people I want to stay in touch with via Twitter are friends and also people like Ben Jordan and Dave Lloyd and that.
Yeah.
Because I reckon, like, Twitter, in its purest form, there for two reasons: cracking jokes and defaming AFL umpires. And I looked at my Twitter feed since September 23 has mainly been 8 tweets accusing the AFL of being a criminal organisation.
The problem is
these are just dumb jokes. But now, and it's become worse since Musk took it over. It is all care and no responsibility in terms of what they post. And there are some things I've seen in the last few days I really wish that
I agree.
I'd never seen. I don't want Twitter on my damn phone.
But partly that's because they've changed the algorithm that governs what you see. I had this really nice, neat group of people whose opinions I was interested in, or people who wrote stuff that I'd be interested in reading.
Yeah, same.
And now it's infiltrated by a combination of gruesome and graphic material out of the Middle East.
And pornography.
Yeah. That seems to be what you get thrown up all the time.
And just heaps and heaps of
crypto
really
weirdness.
Yeah, crypto stuff. Often crypto stuff put around by people who also seem to be porn stars.
Yeah, like, they just go hand in hand.
But heaps of international sort of weird Ukrainian stuff, Russian stuff, a lot of anti-vax stuff, a lot of January 6 ratbaggery, both for and against.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, you used to, because it was like Spotify, you know, where
completely
Spotify knows that, you know, quite a big fan of bands like The Replacements and Talking Heads, so it creates lists for me and says, this is what you like, Dave, and it's uncanny how accurate it is. But Twitter does none of that anymore. And I think, you know, I mean, for God's sake, some of the stuff doing around, it's just putrefying. So I'm going to delete the thing, and you know, I think everyone should, because there's other ways to stay in touch with people.
Free bowel cancer screening is being made available to younger Australians. New guidelines approved by the country's peak medical body will see testing kits provided to those aged 45 now. That's 5 years earlier than the current system. The changes will cost around $33 million more to fund. Australian journalist Chung Lei is back on home soil after spending more than 3 years detained in China. Miss Chung was jailed in 2020 on what Beijing said was national security grounds. The Prime Minister has announced she's now safely back in Melbourne, where she's been reunited with her family. Strategic Analysis Australia Director Michael Shoebridge says it's a sign Australia-China relations are beginning to thaw.
I think this says that we're in another charm offensive time from Beijing looking at Australia, and they want to reward the Albanese government for being much quieter about the problems that China's making for us and others.
She's got an 11 and a 14-year-old child, so they were 8 and 11 when she was detained.
They'd be completely different kids now.
Imagine explaining that to a, year 2?
Yeah. Yep. Year 2. Yeah, generally year 2. Now they're year 5.
Yeah.
Amazing, isn't it?
That's the youngest. The oldest is what in high school?
I'll tell you what, though, it's nice to have a good news story to talk about for a change, isn't it?
Oh, my God. We were joking about that reading the news last night. Pretty uplifting stuff tonight, isn't it?
Well, the good news, folks, is it's only 2 weeks until Budgie Fest.
That is the antidote.
I'm serious. I've kept the press release. What was his name? Troy?
He was
the
great.
Budgie guy?
The Budgie guy was excellent.
I've still got it in my folder of notes here. What's that? That's a Mitcham Council report about Forestville Hockey Club. Anyway, we'll do more about Budgie Fest. Budgie Fest. It's the event that's going to take South Australia by storm. Yeah. 3 hours in Campbelltown. Go and hang out with people who love budgerigars. I'm there.
Have you ever heard a story about when Antiques Roadshow goes bad?
No,
this isn't exactly that. I don't mean to defame Antiques Roadshow. It doesn't go bad with them, but maybe sometimes it goes bad with your antiques dealer. An elderly French couple are suing an antique dealer after they sold him a 19th century African mask for $158. Okay, $158, old mask, gathering dust.
Buy a few slabs of Cronenberg.
He resold it for $4.4 million.
Well, that's a bit of a markup, isn't it? on the old wholesale price.
He's got labour costs, I guess, the lease,
supply chain,
COVID,
war in Ukraine,
inflation,
labour market shortages,
oil prices. The couple claimed the antique dealer cheated them, knowing full well the mask's real value. How good do you reckon that bloke's poker face was when he's saying,
I'm not sure if it is an authentic Cameroonian mask. However, I will... 158. How does that sound to you?
And he's back in his Citroen. How can a mask be worth that much? Did it belong to Queen Nefertiti or something?
Must have.
It's amazing.
We'll get more information on the mask. Right now, outside in the city, it's 13.9 degrees, top of 19 today. Up to 2 mils of rain. I suspect we've already had a fair chunk of that. 19 tomorrow, 19 on Saturday with, again, a possible drizzle. 19 on Sunday. Starts warming up progressively next week. 20 on Monday, 23 Tuesday, and 26 on Wednesday. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio with us. Gliderol Garage Doors adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Boys, the trade period enters day 4 today. We spoke about Harrison Petty yesterday. Look, the Demons are digging their heels in. Looks like they might even try to offer him a beefed-up deal to keep him at the Demons. I'm not sure if he'll take that or not, but it's a nice thing to be, isn't it, in demand. And,
he's in a good spot.
You know, what a great position for him to be in.
They can't afford to lose him. That's the problem.
That's the issue. They've got no forwards.
I think at the moment, you correct me if I'm wrong, Rennie, I think they've got something about 4 picks inside the top 25. At some point in time, you've only got so many list spots, so having good picks is great. So
can we get Clayton Oliver instead?
Yeah. Well, this is what they need, the Crows, a top quality forward and a midfielder, and then, you know, they don't grow on trees, so if you can pinch one from somewhere. Yeah. The other thing that, I think is happening at the moment is, don't think an official request has been made just yet, but Ollie Lord, obviously there's a bit going on between Asava Radaglia and Geelong. There's a bit of an impasse. He's got family connections. Grandfather played for the Cats, premiership player. They've made some believe they're going to start making some inquiries saying we'll have a look.
Port won't put Ollie Lord on the table unless he tells them he wants to leave.
Yep.
I can't imagine, not in a Radaglia
And
deal.
Again, it might be a bit like Harrison Petty. Got a year to run in his contract. Good time to be renegotiating
Great time to be renegotiating.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the clubs then, it's a risk reward for the clubs because you wait till the bloke's out of contract and what you're getting back is not going to be as good.
Exactly.
Because they've got the threat of walking to the pre-season draft and so forth, or ultimately becoming a free agent. So, yeah, it's a game of chicken.
Isn't it? You know, and this is what happens in the trade period. So it's still a week to go. There's a long amount of time, but Sydney were the big winners yesterday, weren't they? I mean, probably shows how much money they had in their cap being tied up with Buddy Franklin.
Sure does.
I mean, they've got Taylor Adams and he's not the player that he was, but he's still going to be a handy replacement for Callum Mills, who's had the shoulder issues, the big story. But Brodie Grundy, I mean, I know he didn't work at Melbourne. Good on the Demons for having a try, but he's a top 3 ruckman in the competition when he's going. So I think all of a sudden the Swans, again, are premiership contenders.
Wasn't Buddy the most highly paid footballer of all time?
He'd have to be close.
When he signed the contract, it was the biggest. I don't know if it remained the biggest over the life of it.
Yeah.
But it certainly was, I think, when he signed it.
Yeah. But it was a 10-year deal, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was something extraordinary.
It was huge, wasn't it?
Amazing.
And everyone laughed at it at the time, but it was one of those long-term ones. He did see it through, and
he did,
and then he kept going. You know, he did remarkably well. So, well done to the Swans. I think they're the big winners so far.
Interesting that they never really struggle to attract people to move to Sydney.
Yeah,
do they?
Yeah.
You think that the idea that it's in a not traditional football area actually doesn't seem to count against them. If anything, I reckon it appeals to a certain bloke, like Brodie Grundy especially. I think,
you know, just being out of that glare of a bit like the Melbourne Storm in the rugby league, they just tend to thrive, don't they? Perhaps not being in the real spotlight of the diehards.
So how do you go about your sports journalism at this time of year, Tom? Because, you know, like frankly, trade stuff's like just made up nonsense.
Yeah,
speculation, crazy talk, but it's the driest time of year sporting wise, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Is the third item on 9 News tonight going to be some curling out of Canada or something like that?
It's a bit like that. Thank God there's a World Cup match on tonight with the cricket. That's happening tonight.
Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah. It's a bit like that.
Is Australia playing?
Australia playing South Africa. So it's the old system. It's what they did in the early 90s when everyone just plays everyone. So there's a lot of games. A lot of games. I don't know if we're going to have World Cup fatigue. I mean, I don't even know if it's really captured the imagination just yet. Yeah,
I don't think people will watch it till the very end.
And that's it. So that's on.
Only if Australia go through.
October's the tricky time, though. But you know what? Football people, and Will, you would know this, they love the trade period.
You die-hard nuffies like me think it's amazing.
They go crazy for it.
See, the fair weather fan like me, I'll wake me up when it's over.
Okay, yeah. Hey, one thing, it was Men's Mental Health Day yesterday, I think. I don't know if you boys spoke about it, but if you get a chance, just, you know, linking it with a sporting theme, the Norwich Football Club, who are a big soccer team over in the UK, they released a video about mental health. It's about 2 minutes.
It's incredible.
If you get a chance to watch it, it's one of the best mental health videos on
Will
Twitter.
mentioned it to me yesterday. I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
One of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's brilliantly done, isn't it? Yeah.
Norwich
Football Club.
Yeah. It's gone
Norwich
viral
FC.
and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Just very simple but beautifully made.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
Quite poignant. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks,
Good
Tom.
stuff.
That's Tom Wren, thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors. They're here right now, gliderol.com.au.
There's one sign on Doothie Street, Unley, you must see. It's the Kirkbride seafood sign. It changes daily, from fresh crays to Atlantic salmon, King George whiting, garfish and SA King prawns. All sustainably fished and processed on site at Kirkbride Seafood. Not some faraway factory. It's a good sign that you're getting the best you can get. And so close to the city. See what's on the sign today. Kirkbride Seafood, Doothie Street, Unley. kirkbrideseafood.com.au.
The roller door doctor, this is Nurse Tracy.
Hello, hi. My husband managed to get it up this morning, but now I can't get it to go down again.
Sounds like you need automation. At the Roller Door Doctor, we can turn any garage door from manual to automatic.
Really?
Then you can get it up anytime, anywhere with an app on your phone.
The Roller Door Doctor, helping SA get it up for over 30 years. Contact the Roller Door Doctor for garage door repairs, service and installation. therollerdoordoctor.com.au.
Medicines just got cheaper for a range of ongoing health conditions. Now, selected PBS medicines can be prescribed for 60 days, saving you money and time by giving you twice the medication for the cost of a single prescription. Here you go.
Thanks, Doc.
Ask your doctor if a 60-day prescription is right for you, or visit health.gov.au/cheaper medicines. Part of making Medicare stronger.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
In need of a holiday or planning the trip of a lifetime? Join us, Hayley and Lauren from Adelaide at the Phil Hoffman Travel Expo for all the hottest deals and holiday ideas. With over 50 travel experts and operators, get experienced advice on destinations all over the world, plus huge savings available on the day. There's holidays to be won, free coffee, free travel talks, and best of all, entry is free. Sunday, the 22nd of October, Adelaide Convention Centre. Register at pht.com.au.
For nearly 40 years, no one has done certified used cars quite like Steinborner Automotive, with dedicated yards including SA's best range of commercials loaded and ready to go, including SA's only dedicated small car and SUV centre, and SA's only large SUV and 4x4 centre suited for any lifestyle. Steinborner still also has the best range of Commodores, from ZBs to the collectibles. View all late model used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 19 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettick.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Rocket fires bombarding a hospital in southern Israel, hitting a children's wing. The rockets fired from the Gaza Strip are peppering the facility in Ashkelon, a few kilometres from the border. Israeli journalist Nicole Zedek is there and says the hospital's treating hundreds of people injured in the conflict. But so far, no one's been injured in these latest attacks.
Every 30 minutes or so, we get a red alert that another rocket is being fired at the hospital, and we have to run inside and take shelter. Luckily, the hospital is a protected, safe place for all the patients, the medics, the volunteers who are here. But earlier today, there was a direct hit on the hospital. It hit the Children's Development Center.
In Gaza, officials say they're exhausting their medical supplies as they come under fire in retaliation for the weekend's attacks. The only power stations also run out of fuel, leaving the strip without electricity. The federal government's working with Qantas to operate repatriation flights for Australians stranded in Israel. There's concern about commercial airlines cutting services to Tel Aviv as fighting intensifies. 2 flights have been locked in so far. The first leaves tomorrow. And parents are being urged to get their children off TikTok and Instagram during the conflict. Parents from Jewish schools are being told to delete the social media apps from their children's phones after Hamas threatened to live stream the slaying of dozens of captured civilians. Supporters of another imprisoned academic are pushing for his freedom after Cheng Lei was released from jail in China. The Australian journalist has been reunited with her children and family in Melbourne after being detained in Beijing for 3 years. But friends of 58-year-old writer Yang Hengjun says he remains in legal limbo. Skilled migrants brought in to fill workforce shortages will get a boost to minimum pay under a new government proposal. Georgia Condek explains.
The federal government plans to increase pay rates every year, but businesses say it will progressively starve them of workers. A leaked paper has been obtained by the Herald, which proposes annually indexing the temporary skilled migration income threshold, as well as the high wage threshold for specialist migrants. Visa pathways for childcare and disability workers are also being considered to help increase staff numbers. A number of businesses oppose the annual increases.
Free bowel cancer screening is being made available to younger Australians. New guidelines approved by the country's peak medical body will see testing kits provided to those aged 45, 5 years earlier than the current system. The changes will cost around $33 million more to fund. And pop singer Vanessa Amorosi will return to the Victorian Supreme Court today. She gives evidence against her mother, who she's embroiled in a legal dispute with. She's suing Joylene Robinson over the ownership of 2 properties, one in Melbourne and the other in California. Ms Amorosi claims her mother engaged in unconscionable conduct when she took control of her finances in 1999. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. There are reports Melbourne will offer South Aussie Harrison Petty a beefed-up deal as the AFL trade period enters day 4. The 23-year-old has attracted plenty of interest from the Crows at West Lakes and has received a big offer, but the D's are keen to keep him with 2 years still to run on his current contract there. Well, it can be revealed meantime that Taylor Adams approached the Swans about a move to Sydney during the finals. The Collingwood vice-captain to join Brodie Grundy, James Jordan and Joel Hamling at Sydney. Head of recruiting Kinnear Beatson telling Wide World of Sports Adams came to them.
There was a little bit of frustration for him in terms of the lack of midfield time he was getting. We weren't aware of it until his manager contacted us. We're somewhere around preliminary final, middle of prelim, grand final.
To cricket, Australia will take on South Africa tonight at the World Cup, desperate to bounce back after a first-up loss to India. Hosts India made it 2 from 2 last night after cruising to an 8-wicket win against Afghanistan. To tennis, top seed and world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz has been upset in the 4th round of the Shanghai Masters. Alcaraz losing to Grigor Dimitrov 5-7, 6-2, 6-4. He says he started poorly in the second set and was surprised by Dimitrov's level.
I think I made a few mistakes in the first game that I shouldn't do that. That's the truth.
And 5th seed Andrei Rublev is also through to the quarterfinals, beating American Tommy Paul in straight sets. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or two and 19 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 19. A shower or two Saturday, 19, and the same for Sunday, 19. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Know someone finishing school and looking for an apprenticeship or a traineeship? Visit maxima.com.au.
24 minutes to 7. Police and weather not too far away. Very shortly, we're going to chat with an Australian man who calls Tel Aviv home. Arsen Ostrovsky, who's a human rights lawyer. He's written extensively about Israel-Palestine relations in the past. Today he's just a citizen. He's a citizen of a major city that's under siege at the moment, and we'll be chatting with him about that experience very, very shortly.
Now, folks, if you are not on the Foodland live stream, I've got to say you are in for a visual treat when you log on. Thanks to the good people at Peter Shearer. And this is an exciting development, because normally when Will gets all trussed up like cock of the walk, it starts from 6. You know, there's no sort of drum roll please moment. He just arrives looking like $1 million in his bag of fruit from down the road at Peter Shearer. Look out for the man. What's happened now is that sort of Clark Kent into Superman style, Will has entered a telephone booth or similar during the 6:30 news break, and he's come back looking absolutely schmick. He's got a sort of pea green jacket, and I mean, I'm the one who gets ribbed for the open neck shirt. Well, you got a bit of the old DK Lily going on there, albeit without the chest hair.
Have I dropped the button?
You've dropped the button.
Whoops, there we go.
You've dropped the button.
That's better. It's a bit more presentable.
But you're not full Dennis there. But the thing that I really like, being a white pants enthusiast, is you've gone the white slack.
Yeah, I tell you what,
the Dax.
It's first for everything.
I know we're about to do an interview, but at some point you need to stand up and do a full Brownlow red carpet style pirouette. Look at the pants.
Is there anything coming? You can't see through.
That's a new innovation we call Ask Cam here at 5AA. We're pointing his butt straight at the camera.
You can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Sensational.
Now, forgetting all that, but not, of course, Peter Shearer. Discover style and service always at Peter Shearer Menswear, in-store, online, petershearer.com.au. You've got 1,000 texts on the Duttons text line, all about people talking about the end of the milk bottle service in South Australia, trying to pin a date on it. The reason why is because it's coming back, at least in a small way, thanks to the great people at FIVEAA Milk Company. Nick Hutchinson joins us this morning. Nick, the glass bottle, it's coming back like vinyl.
It is. It's quite exciting. It's something we've been working away on for a little while at FIVEAA Milk, and it's great to bring it back.
So, Nick, when you talk about the glass bottle, people's thoughts immediately go back to the 60s and 70s. They were those nice curved 600ml bottles with the foil cap. Is that the same design you're looking at this time?
It's similar. We've gone for a 1 litre bottle, so I guess 2 litres are the most common milk size these days. It's quite hard with a glass bottle to handle a 2 litre, so we've gone with 1 litre. But it's a very similar type setup. So back to the 1960s where you could take your glass bottle shopping with you, get it and refill it.
Yeah. And do they like screw tops? Like the ones,
Correct.
a bit like the ones you get
top.
tomato passata or fruit juices in sometimes?
Very similar, mate, yeah. So screw top milk bottle, there's no foil on it, just screw top's enough.
What's the cost impact?
On the shelf, it's similar for us to a plastic 1 litre bottle. It's the question I've been asked more than any. We save a little bit on plastic, everyone's aware of that, but plastic's pretty cheap, and that's why everyone likes to go towards plastic from a processing end. But we do have to slow the process right down at our end. We fill up an 18-litre keg to take to the store, and that keg has to come back to FIVEAA Milk. We put it through a thorough clean and have to track that keg the whole way. So there's a lot of labour costs involved from our end compared to filling plastic bottles that get chucked away.
Because I was wondering that, Nick, how do you guys get the bottles back? Because a lot of people just buy it and then it ends up in the yellow bin and then the council does whatever or the recycling company does whatever with it. How do you guys get the bottles back?
The glass bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now the consumer makes a one-off purchase of the glass bottle and that's theirs to keep. They wash that themselves and take it shopping with their bags. We fill 18-litre milk kegs that get delivered to the store. So those kegs are dispensed through a tap system, very similar to beer. Everyone familiarises it with beer, so very similar to that. Then when the kegs are empty, we pick up the kegs, take them back, clean the keg, fill the keg. So, yeah.
If it goes gangbusters, Nick, have you contemplated making it broader than the central market and other places and expanding it out?
Absolutely, yeah, that's the plan. At the moment, it's rolled out in 28 sites. A lot of them are cafes, though, so where they'll fill straight into the coffee jug and then not fill their bins up with bottles. But they are also retailing the bottle. There's 4 Drake supermarkets that are putting it in at the moment. Adelaide Fresh Fruiter is a Morphevale. There's a conversation with Tony and Mark, so there's definitely a lot of conversation going on, and we want to roll it out to have the refill stations available here, there, and everywhere.
You said it's like beer. Is it like beer insofar as I always think beers taste better out of a glass bottle than it does out of a can or anything else? Is milk better out of glass than cardboard or plastic?
Everyone says that, and I think it comes back to the temperature. For some reason, the glass cools itself in the fridge, and it's a lot colder. It just gives that fresher taste. So everyone says it tastes better in glass. I'm, to be honest, quite new to it, like everyone else at the moment. So, but everyone that's got a few generations on me tells me how much better it is. So we'll see.
That's an excellent innovation, Nick.
It's great.
Yet again, one of the many things I love about FIVEAA Milk, apart from how good your products are, is how you disrupted what had become a pretty cushy market for the big boys for a long time, and it's great that a little local company down here, you're in Maiponga, Mount Compass?
Yeah, based in Maiponga.
Yeah,
so,
Maiponga.
Yeah, 45 minutes from the city, I guess, not too far away, but yeah, it's a great family story. There's 3 farmers that started it, still own the business today, and we're always looking for new and innovative ways to, I guess, have an impact in the dairy industry, which this is another one.
I love too how every time go with the kids to the Wollonga markets, cannot leave without stopping to get some flavoured FIVEAA milk. And it's strategically located right next to the car park. So that's one gauntlet I cannot run without the kids going, "Hey, Dad, we haven't got the strawberry flavoured milk yet." Good way to start a Saturday.
We love those farmers markets, the Wollonga one, the Wayville farmers market. They're quite good. Yeah, exactly fit our model so well, going there to get your fresh produce, whether that be fruit and veg or milk or meat. But yeah, they're perfect.
Totally.
Good on you, Nick. Great innovation.
Thanks, Nick.
Love the concept. Nick Hutchinson from the FIVEAA Milk Company. Let us know, folks. Will you switch back from plastic to glass bottle? Do you like the idea of taking your bottle of milk or bottles of milk, you go and get a refill at the supermarket as opposed to buying plastic or cardboard milk containers every single time? I didn't know. I thought it was just at the central market. I didn't realise they were already rolling it out more broadly. So it's pretty accessible for people.
Yeah, I had the wrong end of the stick.
I
thought you just bought the glass bottle and then put it in your recycling bin. But the idea that you buy it to reuse it yourself makes a lot more sense.
The idea of what they're doing with cafes is brilliant. The amount of wastage in cafes that you see just will pour a litre or half a litre into one of the little things that they use to froth milk in. And they just have giant bins full of cartons of milk.
Yeah.
overflowing, so they won't need it at all anymore, which is fantastic.
A lot of love for the white trousers on the Dutton's text line.
Would you say a lot of love?
Dave from Alberton says a lot of responsibility comes with wearing white strides. I feel like I'm working with Barry Gibbon here. It's terrific.
Yeah, right, if only. Visit Dutton's Murray Bridge to check out the Mazda demo clearance. Dutton's, easy to do business with. Thanks for those texts. We'll get back to more of those in a moment. But first, time to check traffic. Thanks to Keezer. You're tired of back pain? Time to try Keezer. KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. Panel Hills West burst water main there this morning. Bridge Road at Maxwell Road. She's down to 40 k's to the lane closed heading outbound. Got large filling up at a few spots this morning, including Medindi, Main North Road near Nottage Terrace, and also at Harndorf this morning. Mount Barker Road near Balhanna Road. Slow going at the moment, Felixstowe, AG Road near Turner Street, with a camera, Warner Road at Semaphore. The referendum is on Saturday, October 14. To vote, write yes or no in the box on your ballot paper. Learn more at aec.gov.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Are you ready to be blown away by a new BT50 bargain? Mawson Lakes Mazda has put together the complete BT50 package. With the purchase of a new BT50, you get free on roads and $1,000's worth of exclusive accessories free. On top of that, you'll get our 5-year warranty and 5 years roadside assist. Or check out our heavily accessorised demo models. There are heaps to choose from. Mawson Lakes Mazda's complete BT50 packages. Stocks won't last, so hurry. Just a short drive from the city.
The T2D project is the biggest road project our state has ever undertaken. It will change the way South Australians live, move and connect. We're shaping the future of South Australia. Learn more at t2d.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Now, getting the job done shouldn't involve a scavenger hunt. You deserve a one-stop shop. When it comes to all things tools for tradies and serious DIYs, it's all in one place at Toolkit Depot.
With a huge range of top brand power tools, equipment, safety gear and workwear, they've also got you covered with specialist advice to help you get it done.
So don't wait. Kickstart spring with Toolkit Depot. Visit any one of the 5 Toolkit Depot stores across SA. That's in Gawler, Parafield, Mile End, Melrose Park and Seaford. Open 7 days a week, or you can always shop online.
For more on store locations and brands they stock, visit toolkitdepot.com.au. Toolkit Depot, everything you need to get the job done.
Make your day a cream on top kind of day with a McCafe Deluxe Iced Coffee. A shot of barista-made espresso with the decadent taste of hazelnut or vanilla or caramel. It's real coffee, real deluxe. McCafe Deluxe Iced Coffee. Now that's coffee fit for an Aussie.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
13 minutes to 7, time to talk weather. Simon Timke at the Bureau joins us. Simon, there was about up to 2 mils of rain forecast. How much more do you think we'll get? Because there was a bit of a drizzle around the suburbs this morning.
A little bit of shower activity around, and looking at the rainfall totals that we've had, the wettest places have been around the sort of the southern hills. We've had 6 millimetres at Hawthorne Dean, 4 millimetres at Crafers and Aldgate. But even further north, there's been the odd shower around. We've had about 1 millimetre or so about the northern plains, a couple of millimetres at Golden Grove, 3 at South Para Reservoir. We haven't actually recorded anything here in the city yet, but looking on the radar, there's still a couple of showers upstream, just sort of moving across Investigator Strait there. So a couple of showers about the place. And I think they'll mostly clear sort of by early afternoon or early to mid-afternoon. Temperature-wise, we've had an overnight minimum of 13.8 degrees, and we're currently sitting on that temperature now and expecting a much cooler day than yesterday, just 19 degrees, the maximum for the city today, 19 as well for Elizabeth, Glenelg and Noarlunga, 17 for Mount Barker. The winds today still pretty fresh and a little bit gusty at times. They'll be westerly but turn southwesterly during the morning, gradually ease a little bit later on in the afternoon. We do have a strong wind warning out for metro waters too, but we should see an easing of those winds over the metro waters sort of late morning and during the afternoon. Those cooler conditions continuing through the rest of the week and the weekend. Partly cloudy day on the way for Friday with southwesterly winds, keeping that maximum temperature down to around 19 degrees again. For Saturday and Sunday, I think both days likely to see a couple of showers around the place with west to southwesterly winds. Maximum temperatures 19 degrees for both Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll see a return to dry conditions early next week, and conditions gradually warming up. 20 degrees and partly cloudy for next Monday. 23 and sunny for Tuesday, 26 and sunny for next Wednesday. So a bit of warmer weather on the way next week, but a couple of showers ahead of that.
Thank you for that, Simon. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Matt Brown joins us. Matt, fatal crash at Bedford Park yesterday.
That's right. Well, about 12:15 p.m, emergency services were called to the Southern Expressway entrance near Flinders Drive after reports that a pedestrian had been hit by a truck. And sadly, the 23-year-old Selleck's Beach man died at the scene. The truck driver, a 40-year-old man from the northern suburbs, wasn't physically injured, but major crash investigators attended and examined the scene, and we're asking for any witnesses who may have seen the incident happen or captured it on dashcam footage to contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000. Now, the Southern Expressway was closed for several hours, but has since reopened to all traffic. And there was another fatal crash last night also at Wollonga Hill. About 10 p.m, police and emergency services were called to Victor Harbour Road after reports that a truck and a car had collided. Now, the driver of the prime mover, a 34-year-old man, and his 3-year-old passenger, both from Kangaroo Island, were uninjured, but they were taken to the Flinders Medical Centre. They were kept under observation. But the driver and sole occupant of the Toyota sedan, a 36-year-old man from the Semaphore Park, sadly died at the scene. Now, Victor Harbour Road is still currently closed to all traffic between Pages Flat Road and Yundy Road. And the two men's deaths take the number of lives lost on SA roads to 90 compared to 57 at the same time last year.
Yet another terrible 24 hours on the roads, Matt. And also, this person's not doing their bit to make life safer for the rest of us. A high-range drink driver's been caught at Paralawi.
That's right, David. About 2:30 a.m. today, police saw a Nissan sedan travelling south on Port Wakefield Road at Bolivar without its headlights on. Now, police conducted a U-turn and saw the car turn left onto Kings Road at Paralawi, where police stopped the vehicle, and the driver, a 33-year-old man from Virginia, underwent a breath test and returned a positive reading of .268. Now, further checks revealed the man's licence was disqualified, and so he was reported for drink driving, driving while disqualified, and driving without lights at night. So he was issued a 12-month immediate loss of licence notice, which of course will be added to his current suspension. His car was impounded for 28 days, and he'll be summoned to appeal at a later date. So some good work by patrols there, getting a dangerous driver off the road before he adds to the road toll.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you for that, Matt. Senior Constable Matt Brown. Chris has called in on 8223 Morning to you, Chris.
Good morning. How you going?
Good, thanks, Chris.
Hey, I just coming down Brighton Road. You know, with the Hove, where the
train. Yep.
Yeah, there was a kangaroo that come out of there, and then it went up Brighton Road, travelling south.
Seriously,
Brighton Road kangaroo.
Brighton Road.
What
about that? Well, it's probably, if it was at the Hove Railway crossing, it would probably stuck there for a long time.
To keep waiting.
It's one of the worst stretches of road, isn't it?
Well, and it's pretty controversial as well from the perspective of the locals. Thank you for that, Chris. Kangaroo Watch has become a regular feature in the program. We need a sponsor.
Yeah, we do. Why don't we do
Kangaroo
that?
Watch. If they're going to start frolicking with us in the suburbs of Adelaide.
Yeah.
They are a traffic hazard.
They are.
Anyone who wants to sponsor Kangaroo Watch.
Was Corey Wingard was the local member, but he lost his seat, didn't he?
Yep.
Well, they were going to fix the Hove. They were going to. Sorry, if my mother heard me say that. Not going to.
Yes.
They were going to fix the Hove crossing, but then they shelved it. Is that what happened?
I can't remember. Or the solution was the cure was worse than the disease. Or
what's going on in Hove, listeners? It behoves you to ring the show and tell us what's the status of that railway crossing, because it's a total pain in the neck.
Yeah. 8223 you can text us on the Dutton's text line as well. A little bit earlier,
I don't think Corey Wingard listens to our show.
I wouldn't have thought.
I think he just had flashbacks to the dying days of the Marshall government. Poor bloke. He was a really nice guy.
When they forgot to, the guy who called the people to tell them their house was getting bulldozed had a day off.
That was one of the great spectacular moments of bureaucratic ineptitude South Australia's seen of late. All the house demolitions along South Road, and they sent out the letter to the residents saying this: if you've got any questions,
call this number.
Like, your call is important to us and has been placed in a queue. Unfortunately, the bloke is meant to be answering the phones on an RDO.
Unbelievable. A little bit earlier in the morning, we chatted with Arsen Ostrovsky, who is a human rights lawyer that swapped New South Wales for Tel Aviv. He's been living there for a number of years. He's written extensively on Israeli relations and so forth. It wasn't in any professional sense that we wanted to catch up with him. We wanted to talk to an Australian living in Tel Aviv to get a bit of a sense of what life is like there right now in what is an active war zone. We started by asking him just that. What's life been like the last couple of days?
In a nutshell, it's been in and out of bomb shelters. That's been life here in Tel Aviv, certainly. It's been far worse in the south of Israel, where people are burying their loved ones, their children, mothers, brothers, sisters. Others are seeing their loved ones being dragged away, kidnapped, pillared. We found news the other day. 40 babies were just found yesterday, many of them decapitated. These are babies. What we're dealing with here is, this is a ruthless, savage, monstrous, barbaric enemy. This is worse than ISIS in so many ways. This is what we're dealing with. This is what the Western world is really dealing with now. And the real face of this Hamas terror organization is out there in the open for all to see.
Talking to your friends and family, other people in the community there at the moment, Arsene, are a lot of people starting to wonder whether they should even stay in Israel, or is there a sense that you'll get through this? We spoke to a Melbourne woman the other day who's married to an Israeli guy, and she said that at the moment it feels too hard to make any really big life decisions, but she did say she was missing home.
Look, you know what I mean? I grew up in Bondi, I grew up in Sydney, definitely missing Australia. But I can tell you now there is this incredible sense of unity and resilience amongst Israelis, and also this kind of affirmation that these terrorists are not going to dictate terms to us. They're not going to win, and we will grieve now, but then we'll rebuild, and we will live life according to our terms. You're seeing, there's everyone now really coming together, those that are able or volunteering or going into the reserves in the army, those that are contributing elsewhere. No one's looking at leaving, and certainly not on their terms.
Yeah. What's the feeling among your friends and colleagues and people on the street when it comes to this conflict? Is there fear that it's going to get much worse before it gets better, that it's going to get much broader before it gets under control? Israel's a fairly small country. It's 9 million people, but it's the kind of place, and something like what happened, this is just really unprecedented. There's, one of the most jarring figures I heard of, so many figures about this, is that in one day more Jews were murdered than since the Holocaust. That's something mind-numbingly jarring. It's a kind of place here that everyone knows someone. We all do. Someone that's was either killed, that was either kidnapped, a friend that's serving, or loved ones. Everyone knows someone that has been directly affected. But I think there's also recognition that this is going to go on for some time. The rules have completely gone out the window. We have not seen anything like this, and we do not ever want to see anything like this. So I believe that, we're in for long haul here. I don't know how long it will take. I don't think anyone knows exactly. But I think there is also this realization that, we have to root out and eradicate this vermin once and for all. We cannot live like this with this kind of, ISIS basically on our borders, able to kill our people at will. So Israel, like Australia, like any other nation, will do whatever necessary, and we would expect them to do whatever absolutely is needed in order to not only defend our citizens, but also return those of our brothers and sisters and loved ones who have been taken captive in Gaza right now, not knowing when they'll see them, even if they'll see them.
Well, Arsene, we hope that the coming days and weeks improve. As you say, quite clearly, though, there's a bit, looks like a long road ahead. So you stay safe, and We wish you all the very best. Arsene Ostrovsky there, former Bondi man, living now in Tel Aviv. Thank you for your time, Arsene.
Cheers, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I like to call it a passion. I can be sitting relaxing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. Back then, wasn't worried about me though. In the gym, trying to work on my free throw. What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in.
The new Kia Seltos. That's what's poppin'. And yeah, it's got options. The new Kia Seltos. The word is out.
Brand new whip, just hopped in.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
Hearing Australia's new range has hearing devices that are so discreet, you can confidently live the life you love. Search hearing.com.au to book your appointment today.
Hearing Australia.
Conditions apply under the Australian Government Hearing Services Program.
What will you look forward to when you take the first step to great retirement living? Many people who make the move to an FIVEAA retirement community speak of the feeling of belonging, looking forward to trying new activities and making new friends, finding a place that truly is home. It may feel daunting to start with, but the friendly team at FIVEAA are here to help you make the decision that's right for you. One with a little relief, less worries, and a whole lot more looking forward to life. Search FIVEAA First Step to book a discovery tour.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 19 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Complete windscreen supply and fit, front, rear and door glass. Proudly South Australian since 1976.
Fighting's intensifying in Israel and along the Gaza Strip. Correspondent Edward Godfrey was inside Ashkelon Hospital as it came under repeated rocket fire from Hamas, with one rocket hitting the children's centre.
The Israeli government says hundreds of thousands of troops are gathering near Gaza in preparation for a ground assault in the near future. Airstrikes against Hamas and rocket fire back into Israeli territory continue, with a children's hospital in southern Israel hit by a rocket. We were inside as it came under fire in Ashkelon. Wave after wave of rockets were aimed at the Barzillai Hospital, traumatising patients, families and hospital staff. The Iron Dome stopping most, but one did get through, striking the Children's Centre. Fortunately, no children were hurt. A man did suffer minor injuries. In the country's north, reports of Hezbollah militants entering Israel by air have been dismissed by the Israeli Defence Force. The government is paying close attention, however, to the border with southern Lebanon.
And British Airways and Virgin Atlantic have suspended flights to Tel Aviv after Hamas said it had attacked the Israeli airport. A BA flight was on approach to the airport when the captain made the decision to divert back to Heathrow. A spokesperson for Israel's airports authority said rockets were flying around Tel Aviv at the time, but were not an immediate threat to the flight or to the airport. And Australian repatriation flights are set to begin on Friday. More from Zach De Silva.
Commercial airlines have been cutting their services to Tel Aviv as fighting intensifies between Israeli forces and Palestinian militants. To help Australians get home from Israel, the federal government is working with Qantas to operate 2 rescue flights. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the first leaves on Friday and more may be scheduled if needed.
We are assessing all options to get Australians home.
Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Lee is welcoming the move.
It's important that it happens without delay.
People who want a seat on the flights need to register with the Department of Foreign Affairs.
Australian journalist Chung Lei says she's elated to be back home after being released from a Chinese prison. She's been reunited with her 2 children and family in Melbourne after being detained for 3 years. China's legal systems cleared her after she was accused of posing a national security threat. SA's road toll has hit 90 after a man died at Wollonga Hill last night. Police were called to Victor Harbour Road around 10 p.m. after a truck and car collided. A 36-year-old man from Semaphore Park died at the scene. Victor Harbour Road is closed to all traffic between Pages Flat Road and Yundy Road. The lives of the 202 people killed in the Bali bombings will be remembered today, 21 years on from the terror attack. 88 Australians were among those killed. Tasmania's Work Health and Safety Regulator believes charges could be laid in the coming weeks over a fatal jumping castle accident. 6 children were killed when the jumping castle blew away during a primary school end-of-year celebration in 2021. And a New Zealand man now holds the world record for the most bungee jumps in 24 hours. Mike Hurd took 941 leaps off Auckland Bridge. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
And Tom Wren, that's a pretty good effort.
It's amazing. 941, trying to work out how many per minute. Anyway, let's get started with some football news. It's day 4 of the AFL trade period today, with Melbourne refusing to budge on South Aussie Harrison Petty, despite strong interest from the Crows. Sydney, meantime, has added some big names to its playing list. Brodie Grundy's moving over from Melbourne, while they've also taken Taylor Adams from Collingwood. To cricket, Australia faces South Africa in a crucial World Cup clash tonight in Lucknow. India, meantime, has cruised to its second victory at the World Cup with an 8-wicket victory over Afghanistan. Captain Rohit Sharma was on fire, belting 134 from 84 deliveries. Virat Kohli scored an unbeaten half-century as they met the 273-run target with a whopping 15 overs to spare. Sharma says he's delighted with his knock.
I'm glad that today I could go a little big and get that 100. It's a very special feeling when you get that 100, and the World Cup 100 is always special. So very happy about that.
Yeah, great knock from him. Former NBA star Aaron Baines will face an NBL tribunal tonight after an ugly pre-season skirmish. That was whilst playing for the Brisbane Bullets. Tim Zhu will be on the Gold Coast this weekend, not to relax, however. On Sunday at the Convention Centre, he'll attempt to beat interim WBC champion Brian Mendoza. If he wins, he'll continue his career in America. South Korean golfer An Byung-han has been handed a 3-month ban by the PGA Tour for a doping violation involving cough medication. And the World Surf League has appointed Brazilian Luiz Pereira as its director of officiating and head judge. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Reimagine your home, elevate your life at 88 O'Connell Street Luxury Apartments. See 88o'connell.com.
Good morning. Burst water main to look out for this morning on the drive-in. Para Hills West, Bridge Road at Maxwell Road. Got speeds at 40 the lane out of action at the moment. Lights playing up in a few spots, including Medindi, Main North Road near Nottage Terrace. Also in the hills at Harndorf, Mount Barker Road at Balhanna Road. Slow for works at Felixstowe, OG Road near Turner Street. And look out for a camera at Hart Street at Semaphore. Grab yourself a breakfast croissant combo at Muffin Break. Choose any croissant and a small coffee for just $12.50. All day, every day at Muffin Break. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or two on 19 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 19. A shower or two on Saturday, 19, and more of the same for Sunday. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
7 after 7. Good morning to you if you're joining us for the very first time on this Thursday, the 12th of October. Matt Abraham coming up after 7:30. David Kosh after 8 o'clock today. Breaking at 8. John Blake before the end of the hour as well. The Advertiser reporting this morning that the nation's peak Jewish community group has called for the pro-Palestinian rally on Sunday to be called off here in South Australia, hoping to not have a repeat of the ugly scenes out front of the Opera House that we saw in Sydney, where some absolutely heinous things were chanted. It will be going ahead, it sounds like. And the person...
Look, I think it has to as well. Like, we do live in a democracy. We can't be in the business of banning protests, banning rallies, as harrowing and as offensive as it might be. And I say that with nothing but empathy and anger in solidarity with all of those innocent civilians, innocent Jewish people. And for them, it feels like a new version of the Holocaust. As you know, we just heard before, the Aussie bloke living in Bondi, but at the same time, protests are part of life in a democracy. That said, though, there are legal limits that exist, and one of them has been around for years. It's called using offensive language. You know, if you want to stand up and say F anybody in any setting, be it political or at the football, towards the umpires.
I wonder how often that one's been used recently.
Well, maybe it's one of those things that slipped as society has become more laissez-faire. But there are laws that can be used, and there are also hate speech restrictions as well. So this is where you can have the protest, but you can watch it closely.
Well, the man charged with enforcing those laws is the Assistant Commissioner, Scott Duval, who's the Ford commander for the Sunday protests. Assistant Commissioner, good morning to you. Assistant Commissioner, do we have you there?
Yes, we do.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you. So, the parameters around this Sunday. Let's start with your sort of expectation, setting up the police presence and so forth. What do you expect of the people participating in the rally?
Well, obviously we have very high expectations of people's behaviour, but it's very much about them behaving in a safe, orderly and lawful manner. We'll certainly facilitate their right to do that, but should that behaviour escalate, obviously we will be there to step in very quickly.
The thing that the Jewish community, I think, is very understandably upset and distressed about, Assistant Commissioner, is the language that was used in Sydney at the Opera House, F the Jews, F Israel. Beyond that, people applauding the murder of civilians, cheering that on. What are the legal sort of outer limits of what SAPOL will and won't cop on Sunday?
It's obviously an interesting dynamic of protest. If it's peaceful and safe and orderly, we can facilitate the manner in which people do things. But certainly if their behaviour escalates to be offensive and disorderly, then we will be there to step in and take action. But obviously we've got to be very careful about what's going on at the time. And there may be occasions when those types of behaviours may have to be followed up later. But certainly we will be there to take action if it's appropriate at the time, and it can be done safely.
So if people start chanting "gas the Jews" or "F the Jews" like they did in Sydney, will they be arrested?
It's possible they could be, but again, as I said, throwing in that dynamic of protests and crowd behaviour, it's just something that we will have a lot of police on the ground. We will have a police forward commander who's there to make those decisions about the appropriateness of the response at the time.
Do you have any sense yet, Commissioner, as to how many people are expected to attend?
We don't really. We're obviously engaging with the organisers or attempting to engage with the organisers. These are people that we have had previous dealings with protest activity in the city, and in the past they have been peaceful and orderly.
Is it fair to say too that the complexion of it? I mean, one of the groups, and this might be one of the groups you're referring to, is Adelaide Against Racism and Fascism, I think it's called. Now, my understanding, there'd be a whole bunch of Arabic Australians listening to this now who are just getting ready for work, running small businesses, getting their, planning their last day of school holidays with their kids, who would just be shaking their heads going, these people don't speak for me. Like, a lot of them are actually like old school commie sort of Socialist Workers' Party type Anglo people, aren't
they? Protest attendees can be quite a varied group. There are those that are very strong on the views, and then those that are just there to sort of observe, really. And that's why we engage as much as possible with the organisers pre the event. We give them the parameters around which they can operate. We give them the expectations of their behaviour, and we expect them to then pass that on to those people that they have an influence over. So that at the end of the day, they have their democratic right to get their message over, but at the same time, we are there to enforce the law and make sure that the event is safe and orderly.
Is it a static event, Assistant Commissioner, or will they be on the move?
At this stage, it's static, but we do have some information that it could be on the move. So we will be prepared for any contingency. As I said, our police numbers are being planned at the moment, and that will make sure that the event is well policed. If it does move, we'll be ready for that as part of our contingency planning.
And you mentioned you've been talking with the people that run the rally, and they've done similar rallies, and otherwise it's always been handled pretty well. Are they confident that it will be peaceful and to community standard, or do they have concerns there's a riff-raff element that might come along?
That's probably something to ask the organisers. I mean, as much as possible, we try and engage. We do get varying levels of engagement, and I'd say probably at this stage that engagement is not where it would allow us to get that sort of information from them.
Understood.
Well, we hope it remains calm, and we wish you all the best of luck trying to maintain control on Sunday. Assistant Commissioner Scott Duval from SAPOL, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. I think the problem a lot of people have got, quite understandably, with the whole idea of protests / vigils in solidarity at the moment is that normally you stand in solidarity with the victims of a massacre rather than the perpetrators of one.
Well, Reg,
and, you know, you sort of see the carnival of horrors that's emerging in the last day or so, and your immediate thoughts are with those who are, you know, acting under the name of Hamas. Like, there's something a bit wrong with that, is there not?
The Australian Israel and Jewish Affairs Council Executive Director Colin Rubenstein said in his words, the democratic right to protest did not extend to celebrating butchery or backing a banned terrorist group.
I mean, I saw a quote the other day from one of the local Muslim leaders here in Adelaide who was saying how distressed she was at the idea that buildings in Adelaide were going to be lit up blue and white, and that it was distressing for the Muslim community to see South Australia flying the colours of, or displaying the colours of Israel. And I just thought, well, probably not quite as distressing, honey, as having your kid kidnapped. So just deal with it. Just deal with that in this moment. People of Israel deserve that kind of recognition, because what's happened is a moral outrage. And, you know, if you're going to have your feelings hurt because state parliament's blue and white for a night, you know, toughen up.
Well, the other thing is you've got Israeli families in Australia, it's been reported, certainly on the East Coast, in Sydney, Jewish families concerned about taking their kids to school. You've got the Holocaust Museum here in Adelaide, the memorial we've got here, asking for personal security because they've had specific threats and dealt with people who have made reference to things that have happened over the last few days. Like, this is real tangible life stuff that these people are going through. They're the ones that turn on the news and see their people being chanted about as kill them all, gas them and so forth.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, the one saving grace, though, is overwhelmingly, I reckon we're talking about 1,000 people tops.
In Australia?
Oh, this rally in Adelaide. I'd be surprised if it gets beyond that, because our instinct as Aussies, and when I say Aussies, I mean Arab Aussies, I mean Jewish Aussies, I mean all Aussies, is not to get involved in this kind of stuff, because it's the kind of thing that, it's the thing that has attracted people from all races and religions to our country. That there's nothing about life in Australia that resembles life in the Middle East.
Time to check traffic, thanks to Keezer. You're tired of back pain? Time to try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Best water main to look out from the drive-in today. Para Hills West, Bridge Road at Maxwell Road. She's down at one lane with speeds reduced at the moment too. At Crayford, speeds also reduced, this time down to 80 on the freeway down track. It's due to a guardrail which got damaged last night in a crash. Anchor Lane closed at Norwood this morning. The parade near Queen Street, speeds at 40. That'll get slow throughout the morning. Quite busy right now. South Road at Thebberton with the Camera Hart Street at Semaphore. Goodyear Auto Care are your tyre and auto experts you can trust. For great tyre deals and great value car servicing, call Goodyear Auto Care today on 132343. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Robert called in. He was concerned about rezoning suburbs in the city of Marion.
They're trying to rezone all the southern suburbs of Marion.
Chris Hanna is the mayor. He is on the line now.
Look, it's accurate to say that we're putting out a proposal for consultation.
Weekday mornings from 9.
We now want to improve the possibilities
on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
The T2D project is the biggest road project our state has ever undertaken. It will change the way South Australians live, move and connect. We're shaping the future of South Australia. Learn more at t2d.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
If you're like me and love your golf, then the brand new Big Swing Golf Indoor Simulators at Drummond Golf Mile End will blow you away, and you can play rain, hail or shine. Now, I've had a crack at these simulators and they are brilliant. There's 84 amazing courses to play and 12 other sports to choose from. Jump online and take a look at bigswinggolf.com.au, then call your mates and head down to Drummond Golf Mile End.
Now, getting the job done should not involve a scavenger hunt. You deserve a one-stop shop, and when it comes to all things tools for tradies and also serious DIYers, it's all in one place at Toolkit Depot.
With a huge range of top-brand power tools, equipment, safety gear and workwear, they've also got you covered with specialist advice to help you get it done.
But don't wait. Kickstart spring with Toolkit Depot. Visit any one of the 5 Toolkit Depot stores across SA. They're in Gawler, Parafield, Mile End, Melrose Park and Seaford. Open 7 days a week, or you can shop online.
For more on store locations and brands they stock, visit toolkitdepot.com.au. Toolkit Depot, everything you need to get the job done.
When it comes to blinds and curtains, always start with the 3 Bs. Bob Burns Blinds. They've been manufacturing blinds in Adelaide for over 60 years using the very best materials. With a keen eye for detail, innovation and style, from interior and exterior blinds to stunning shutters and curtains, including motorisation and security products, always start with the 3 Bs. Bob Burns Blinds. Visit the new showroom at 1239 South Road, St Mary's, or jump online at bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Know the news with Adelaide's 7 News. Don't miss Adelaide's leading news hour tonight at 6 o'clock.
Breakfast on 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Know someone finishing school and looking for an apprenticeship or a traineeship? Visit maxima.com.au.
20 after 7, Matt Abraham not too far away, dissecting the spin of the week. Jerry Seinfeld's done some stand-up, during which he made some comments about his eponymous show, Seinfeld, one of the greatest comedy shows of all time, that has fans a little bit excited. Have a listen.
Did I like what? The ending of the show. Well, I have a little secret for you about the ending, but I can't really tell it, because it is a secret. Here's what I'll tell you, okay? But you can't tell anybody. Something is going to happen that has to do with that ending. But it hasn't happened yet. And just what you are thinking about, Larry and I have also been thinking about. So you'll see.
Wow. Larry being Larry David.
Yeah.
The writer and also Mr. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Did you see the season of Curb Your Enthusiasm where because Larry David plays himself in Curb Your Enthusiasm, he did a mock news. The storyline of the show was they were bringing back to do another season of Seinfeld, and so they had him and all the actors performing these new scenes essentially because it was for the purpose of the narrative of Curb Your Enthusiasm that they were filming.
And the same cast.
The same cast. They all came back and guest starred.
George.
It was sensational. The little snippets they did as though they pretended they were rebooting the show.
How long ago did this happen?
That happened, that would have been 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, right.
I'd imagine. But it made you think, wow, they could do this today, and it wouldn't be like one of those disappointing reboots or sequels that you see. It'd be,
yeah, because I worry about that. It was like John Cleese announcing earlier this year that he's going to
Fawlty Towers
come back and do a new series with his daughter. I don't know. You can't improve on perfection sometimes.
But if it's 90% as good, you'd want it made.
Well, it's still better than most of the stuff on television.
It'd be absolutely unbelievable. Imagine comedy. Remember that? 23 minutes after 7. It's time to turn our attention to sport. $17 schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it is a Barreau hotel. Last night on the sports show, Timmy had some mail regarding a date for next year's Live Golf tournament.
What I've found out, some time ago we were talking about, is Live Golf going to go on? Because, the merging of the two comps and the like, and they're sorting themselves out.
With the PGA. And,
correct. Yeah. So was it going to continue? Because, Grange had said we got it for 3 more years.
Yes, they have.
So I've done a little bit of homework and I've got...
We were the best tournament in the Southern Hemisphere.
Correct. So on a little bit of sneaky intel, that because we had a rumour some months ago saying it'll be, I think, February.
Yeah, I heard Feb.
That's not the case. This is when it might happen. It's going to happen the week after Gather Round.
Oh, wow.
And the reason for it, because Gather Round's on the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th of April, smack in the middle of the Victorian school holidays.
Okay.
This is just at the end of the Victorian school holidays.
That is perfect.
It's April 12,
Makes
13,
sense.
14. Everybody that comes can stay. And they would have seen Live Golf last year and gone, wow, how good was that? We have to go to that. So you can actually make a 10-day trip out of it here in South Australia.
Well, that makes total sense. That's the way it happened this year.
I think they almost have to live together.
Yeah.
Those two events.
And the huge opportunity, and you'd be the same. How many texts were you getting from people you know in the eastern states going, "My God, how can I be part of this next year?"
Oh, it was unbelievable. It felt like it was happening in our suburb. You know,
well, it was pretty much.
It really was. The cars in the street, and it felt like, you know what Wavell, like your suburb, feels like when Royal Show's on. It has this permanent state of festival about it. That's what Grange in the western suburbs felt like. It was unbelievable.
It was such a good weekend, that Live weekend. It was like the Almighty was smiling upon us because the weather was superb as well.
Couldn't have been better.
But to roll in and because it started the previous week on it was the Thursday night game, Carlton Adelaide, wasn't it?
It was.
How about that first quarter?
Those were the days, weren't they?
What about a mate of mine? He came over from Sydney. He'd lost his job. He's a mad Carlton supporter. And I said, mate, come to Adelaide, it'll cheer you up. Good
friend you are.
What part of this is meant to be cheering me up? We're having fun.
To be fair, it got better for Carlton supporters from then on.
I know, it was almost the turning point.
Got significantly better.
The rev up they needed. But yeah, good mail from Timmy G though, and makes perfect sense.
I just hope we get the calibre of golfer we got last time.
Yeah.
That's the only outstanding detail from the whole merger and the cooling of the really hot war that it was between the PGA and Live Golf that hasn't been nutted out yet. So Live Golf tournaments will continue. We know now, we've got some information about the date continuing. What do we know about who's going to participate? Because that's the last plank of this, I think, that's we're unsure about. Hopefully it's like last year, where it's all the biggest names in the business.
Yeah, it was wild.
Great weekend. Lots of Dutton's texts coming through. Visit Dutton's Murray Bridge to check out the Mazda demo clearance. Dutton's, easy to do business
There's
with.
one I'm loath to read out because I reckon you might jump over the mixing desk and punch me. Can I read it out?
Whatever.
Wayne with a Y says, "G'day fellas, the media king of Adelaide is looking schmick on the live stream." See, I was going to resist even referring to that, Will.
Thank you, Wayne.
I like this. Actually, no, these are all the serious ones about the protest. One here, wouldn't it be great if we had someone in a position of leadership who could stand up and state how wrong these protests are? It won't come from our Prime Minister as he's too busy with the voice. Well, look, in defence of the PM there, he did overnight. He went to a synagogue in Sydney, met with Jewish leaders. He's wearing the Jewish, what's it called, a yarmulke?
Yarmulke, yeah.
The hat.
He needed to do that because it was starting to raise eyebrows. So Rishi Sunak did that the day after the attack. Joe Biden had done something similar. That was some people starting saying, "What's our Australian government doing on that front?" So I was delighted to see he heard that criticism.
Yeah, so he has. I actually think, well, I was saying I will during the ad break, the voice has just sort of vanished as a talking point in the last 48 hours, hasn't it? I mean, it's still there bubbling away in the background. But frankly, I mean, what are we? 2 days from the referendum. I reckon pretty much everyone knows how they're going to vote. So it's almost pointless talking about it.
Well, everyone's just waiting to see the result now. That's the only bit of intrigue that's left in the voice discussion.
And whether there's sausages at the polling booths.
Well, that will remain to be seen as well. 5AA News is coming up. Matt Abraham is not too far away.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to not deal with organising all the trades? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? To the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. Plus, we can manage the installation and all sub-trades at a fixed price. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhannakitchens.com.au.
John Williamson in concert. Experience this Aussie icon as he performs his biggest hits from an impressive career.
It's wonderful to fly.
Don't miss John Williamson, True Blue himself. Her Majesty's Theatre, Saturday, October 14. Book now at Ticketek. Barossa Arts Centre, Sunday, October 15. Book now at barossaarts.com.au.
Is excess fluid making you look and feel fat or bloated? Caruso's Fluid Away to the rescue. Caruso's Fluid Away contains a blend of herbs that has traditionally been used in Western herbal medicine to temporarily relieve mild fluid retention and reduce abdominal bloating. So if you're fed up with excess fluid making you look and feel fat or bloated, try Caruso's Fluid Away today. Caruso's Fluid Away is made in Australia and is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Dreaming of a new car? Make it happen at Solitaire Volkswagen. As South Australia's largest Volkswagen dealership, we have plenty of stock available now for immediate delivery with unbeatable deals on new and demonstrator vehicles. Now is the time to visit Solitaire Volkswagen at Hawthorn and Medindi, DL 65541.
Every day, over 1,400 people join Australia's largest super fund. One reason why is that our size helps keep your admin fees on average 31% lower. Find your reason to join at australiansuper.com/join today. It's Australian, it's super, and it's yours. Average new members over 12 months to 30 June 23. ChatWest Super Fund Fee Survey March 23. Other fees and costs apply. Read the PDS and TMD at australiansuper.com.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 19. With the 7:30 news, I'm Kendall Brettick.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
The UN is pushing for essential supplies to be allowed into Gaza. Israel's been retaliating since the weekend's Hamas terrorist attack. There's no mains electricity in Gaza, where more than 1,100 people have died. Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says essentials need to be let in.
Crucial life-saving supplies, including fuel, food and water, must be allowed into Gaza. We need rapid and unimpeded humanitarian access now. There is no time to lose. Every moment counts.
While hundreds of thousands of Israeli troops have been deployed to the Gaza border as the conflict escalates, Israel's formed an emergency government, teaming up with a political rival to form a war cabinet. An Australian woman living in Israel's had 3 of her 4 children called up to the army to fight. Lisa Seglob's living in Tel Aviv and is experiencing the airstrikes firsthand.
We've been sent to the bomb shelters, every few hours because sirens are going off and rockets are being fired in the south, in the north, in the centre. So it's far from a normal life at the moment.
To other news, a man has died after his car collided with a truck at Wollonga Hill last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says it happened on Victor Harbour Road around 10 p.m.
The driver of the prime mover, a 34-year-old man, and his 3-year-old passenger, both from Kangaroo Island, were uninjured, but they were taken to Flinders Medical Centre. They were kept under observation. But the driver and sole occupant of the Toyota sedan, a 36-year-old man from the Semaphore Park, sadly died at the scene.
His death is the 90th life lost on our roads so far this year, compared to 57 a year ago. Journalist Cheng Lei has been freed from a Chinese prison after 3 years in detention. More from Michael Packy.
Cheng Lei has arrived in Melbourne and been reunited with her 2 children and broader family. Ms Cheng had been detained in Beijing since 2020 amid claims she posed a national security risk. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says she's cleared China's legal hurdles and was able to be released.
This is an outcome that the Australian government has been seeking for a long period of time.
Security expert Michael Shoebridge believes the government's more measured approach to dealing with China is working.
And they want to reward the Albanese government for being much quieter about the problems that China's making for us and others.
Ms Cheng will continue to receive consular assistance while work is being done to release another Australian, Yang Hengjun.
The Electoral Commission's reminding us Saturday's the day to head to polling centres. 4 million people have already cast an early vote in the referendum. Memorial services will be held around the country today, marking 21 years since the Bali bombings. 202 people were killed, including 88 Australians. And the last of the debris from the Titan submersible has been recovered. All 5 passengers on board were killed when it imploded on a trip to the Titanic wreck. Forensic testing is underway on the debris. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with footy. Melbourne swingman Harrison Petty has a big decision to make after Adelaide made a big money approach. The 23-year-old still has 2 years to run on his current contract. Speaking on the Trade Wrap podcast, analyst Matthew Lloyd says the Demons can't afford to lose him.
But the forward line's just a mess. Absolute mess at Melbourne, and it costs them every year. And he's a tricky one because he's floated forward and he's kicked his 6 in a game late in the year, but we've never seen Harrison Petty dominate a season of AFL footy, yet he's being offered $800,000 elsewhere in Melbourne. Hope he's there, hope next year.
Let's go to cricket. All-rounder Cameron Green is likely to be left out of Australia's side for tonight's one-day World Cup clash against South Africa. Marcus Stoinis is set to be recalled. Meantime, the Aussie women's side will play its second ODI clash against the West Indies in Melbourne today. Hayley Matthews will return from a quad injury for the tourists, putting the Aussies on notice. All-rounder Annabelle Sutherland says they'll be ready.
Yeah, definitely preparing for that, and yeah, she certainly got us in those first 2 T20s, so yeah, we feel like we've covered our bases with our plans, and then it's just about executing them on the day.
And a big win for the City of Playford tennis tournament, which is set to begin later this month, with local hero Thanasi Kokonakis set to be involved. He'll be joined by defending champion Rinky Hijikata and former world number 4 Kei Nishikori. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Reimagine your home, elevate your life at 88 O'Connell Street Luxury Apartments. See 88o'Connell.com.
At Para Hills West, burst Watermain there, Bridge Road at Maxwell Road, speed down to 40 with the lane closed. Clearview, crash on Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road causing delays. Crayford, speeds down to 80 on the freeway, down track due to guardrail damage. That's from a smash last night. And we're getting busy south road at Thibberton. Slow for works at Panorama, Goodwood Road near Jamestown Avenue, and got a camera Hart Street at Semaphore. Right now at 40 Winks, get any size mattress at the price of a single, plus earn double Qantas points on purchases. Hurry in Sunday. Exclusions and T's and C's apply. Go to better sleep at 40 Winks. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or two and 19 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 19. Saturday, a shower or two, 19 again, and more of the same for Sunday. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Breakfast on FIVEAA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Know someone finishing school and looking for an apprenticeship or a traineeship? Visit maxima.com.au.
23 minutes to 8 Thursday morning.
Out of 10, every time.
Matthew Abraham on FIVEAA Breakfast.
Your local Mitre 10 friendly service expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That is mighty helpful, Mitre 10. And if you're watching on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll note Matt Abraham is here in the studio with us. Matt, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
You're feeling a bit underdressed in here, Matt? I am. With old bugger legs over there in his
actually, I really
fancy
like that.
pants.
That green is very in kitchens at the moment.
Yeah, the good thing about that jacket,
it's got a bit of a lino throwback feel to it.
You can get it in linen and in Laminex.
Wipes clean. It just hose yourself off after a big night.
I've been to a few parties where having a Laminex suit might have come in handy the next day. I think the people at Brian Ferrari suit hire know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right. Didn't get the bond back?
No. That was a long time ago.
Yes, that was a white.
So you got voice fever, Matt?
I'm just about voiced out.
Lost your voice.
But it will. We'll all know. We'll all be out of our misery in many ways. Although some people will be beginning the misery on Saturday night, probably around. What do you think? Around 8 p.m.
That early?
I think so. I think Anthony Green will be calling it early for the ABC. ABC's an election analyst. In terms of
work with that guy? You would have worked with him.
I have worked with Anthony Green.
He's amazing, isn't he?
Yes.
Like you say something to him about, looks like there's a bit of a swing on in Boothby, and he'll go, yes, but that's only because they're counting the early Mitchell Park booths, particularly down near Sturt Road near the old ambulance station, have always swung very strongly towards the Labor Party. You think, how do you know that?
I know. Well, he's got a big computer in his head.
To that end, that's probably how they'll be able to make an early call. They'll be able to look at some theoretically really strong yes polling booths, and if they're not holding up, and
I think the problem with that is that they'll be based on federal election results. There doesn't appear to be an overlap between what's happening both in terms of the federal poll and any feedback on the national ALP versus Lib vote and the Voice. They almost seem to be tracking on, two different railway lines, heading in different directions. One of the interesting polls that came out about a week ago, I've written about this for In Daily, even though I tried to find something else to write about, was one done in the UK by a mob called Focal Data. And they polled 4,600 Australians. I must have had a huge overseas phone bill doing that. But most of the polls now aren't done by phone, by the way. They're done online. I don't know how they do it, but they're not done by phone. Anyway, they say it's the largest public poll of the campaign, with the exception of the YouGov poll. So that is a big sample, and they have it, as all the polls do, going down in what I think is typical British understatement. The result looks comprehensive for no at 61-39.
Wow. No, that's comprehensive. No qualifier required.
Yeah, no.
That's my guess for the SA vote.
I know.
61-39.
And I'll be giving my vote. I'm sweating over this. I'll be giving
to
my
the pin.
forecast. I really have sweated over it. So, but they also say it looks like to them only 22 of the nation's 151 federal seats are backing a yes vote. So, they've obviously gone down into the data and said out of the 151 electorates, only 22 will carry.
22?
Yeah.
My guess
yes vote.
as well, I would almost put my house on this, is that they will be the 22 most affluent electorates in Australia.
Yeah.
So you're talking like Malcolm Turnbull's old seat, like Wentworth,
Teal, maybe the
Teal seats, Toorak, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, do we have much precedent for 12 months' worth of campaigning ending up in fewer people being for an initiative than when started out? Like the initial polling on The Voice,
nearly 70%.
Yeah,
which is, I think, the big problem for Anthony Albanese. Why he he didn't pay enough attention to me to where this would go. So when he made the decision and how he made the decision and how the campaign was set nearly a year ago. And nearly a year ago, the polls were showing 70%. Now, it's been an incredible turnaround.
70% in favour, you're saying?
It's almost a total...
70% yes.
Yeah, 70% yes. And
Yeah.
it now is looking about 70% no.
Actually, Matt, that reminds me. I'm going to seek some on-air advice from you.
Uh-oh.
If you were writing a column for this Sunday's paper and the deadline for the column, as you know, is before we are going to know the result of the referendum, well, the column needs to be filed by noon Saturday at the latest. We're not going to know the results then, obviously. Do you do the time-honoured thing of writing two columns? One in the event of a yes win, one in the event of a no win, as you would have done in the past for elections? Or do you just go, I'm so convinced of the result that I'm only going to write one column, presuming that it is a successful no vote?
Well, my advice would be to write one column, presuming it's going to be a successful no vote.
Yeah.
Or if it's not, as you said on Monday, I was listening as I was driving down the Outer Harbour boat ramp, if the yes vote gets up, there needs to be a royal commission into opinion polling in Australian politics, because it will be a massive failure of opinion polling. And I think that what we're seeing, this week we've seen this week with the Prime Minister, at Uluru, sort of sitting in the dust, and you've got Pat Farmer, former Liberal MP, who's completed this amazing run around Australia. It has been. I sort of think, well, that's the imagery you should have been using, as a Prime Minister, rather than being offered a G7 or an APEC conference. This is your baby, and if this goes down, it's like it is going to go down. It's going to be a massive personal loss, I think, for not just leading Indigenous players in the Yes camp, but for the Prime Minister. I mean, this is his signature piece, and it's looking like it's going to get a total caning from the Australian electorate.
What does Monday morning look like for the Prime Minister in the event the polls bear out like this? Can they just dust off and move on and say, all right, well, we gave it a cracker now, cost of living? Or because there are some tripwires ahead, aren't there? Because he was going to have former allies in the Yes campaign. They're going to expect some sort of movement, or
they're going to. He needs to be thinking hard about what happens on Monday morning. He really does, because I don't think it's going to be, oh, well, that was a good experiment.
Yeah.
And it's brought the nation together, because it hasn't done that.
The other problem too is election nights are the only nights of the political calendar when people tell the absolute truth, which is what makes election night coverage so cool. Now, I think the problem for the PM is that, and particularly with a lot of the astute Indigenous leaders have been pushing this, I think that everyone's buttoned their lips so far, but after the vote is done and dusted and Australia has rejected the voice, I think there'll be people either by way of backgrounding journalists, or even some going on the record, who will make public criticisms of Albanese, and they'll be along the lines of, why did he push for the constitutionally enshrined voice when he could have done a less unsettling legislated version of it? Why did he start advocating a referendum without having released any of the details of it? Why did he think it was tactically smart to stand next to Alan Joyce, the least popular corporate leader in Australia, with 3 impertinent planes painted with the word yes on it? Well, these are all big questions for the PM.
That's 3 pars of your column for.
I had an idea for a column, Matt. You should do a column saying, could the Malinauskas government have been more generous towards the Adelaide Football Club? You would have loved that announcement, wouldn't you?
Well, I think it's good that they're looking after homeless elite football players by spending $15 million on them. I think that is fantastic.
Now, we need a drum roll, don't we,
yes,
for your pick?
Okay, ahead of my Mighty Mitre 10, we need a drum roll. Okay.
Have we got one?
No, we don't have a drum roll. What do you think? Everyone looked at me like, do you want me to provide a drum roll?
Okay, I'm tipping. Okay, I have this funny feeling that, and most of my sort of undeserved tipping prowess it relies on the fact that I just look at the latest opinion poll and say, well, that looks about right because I trust opinion polls. Now, if I was trusting opinion polls, I'd be saying that the no vote will get up 63 to 37. Okay, so 63, 37.
That's the national vote.
That's the national vote.
63, 37.
I'm predicting no will still win comfortably in nationally and in every state. I'm predicting a national vote of 56 to 44.
Wow, which is significantly closer to what news polls been suggesting.
56 to 44, 57 to 43. Let's stick to 56 to 44. In South Australia,
that's a lot closer.
So even though it's closer, it's not going to get up in a place like Tassie, where it looks like it's been
going to
knife
get up in
edge?
Tassie.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to get up in Tassie. In South Australia, I think no will win 59 to 41.
So South Australia will actually be more no than the national average?
I think so. And
I've got it more yes than the national average. Don't know why, actually.
Well, if you think about the amount of time that the Yes campaign spent...
before I hit send on my column. No.
The Yes campaign has spent a lot of time here thinking it's winnable.
No, I don't think. I think South Australia's down the drain.
I think so too, but...
And I think it's going to be interesting for our legislated voice now, because there's... the ground has really been seeded in terms of the no case. It's been pretty vigorous, and I think it'll be even more vigorous, after Saturday night's referendum result. And they'll then bring out off the back burner our legislated voice and then move it from legislation to reality. And it may be interesting for South Australia.
Well, they parked it out as a courtesy to the national campaign, because it was providing a pretty powerful argument against... putting it in the Constitution.
Exactly.
Well, here's one that just it's ready to go off the shelf.
I think there'll now be a lot more focus on the SA voice, and how it's going to work in the election process. We don't really know that yet.
The people I feel sorry for the most in all this are just your average Aboriginal people sitting around at home listening to all the political analysis of it. And in the same way that I think a lot of gay people understandably felt like the plebiscite was not so much a vote about process, but a vote about them as human beings. Like, I just hope Aboriginal people don't feel the same way when it goes down, because I think this has actually been killed by politics. You know, I think there's an element of it that probably is a bit racist. You know, there's a hardcore
there is
of people who go, oh no, they get everything, and all the lies you hear about, you know, everyone gets a free car in the APY lands and all that crap that proliferates on the internet.
Doesn't that also ignore history? Like, referendums don't get up very often, and they don't get up if they're not bipartisan.
That's right.
But whatever the issue is.
But that's us talking as white people.
Sure, but that's what history says about Australian people voting in these things.
I know, but I just think it would be hard as an Aboriginal person to cop it.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And that's a point that we should all remember. Whether you vote yes or no, that they'll wake up Monday morning going, is that really what Australia thinks of us?
Probably not a reason not to vote no, but I think there'll be a lot of pain there.
Some would argue it's a reason to vote yes.
Yeah, I know.
Just because it's a nice thing to do.
Well,
call me vacuous.
I think the most powerful part of the no campaign, which is run right from the start, was if you don't know, vote no. And I think the huge gap there created by failure to provide any sort of detail about how this will work is at the heart of it. If people don't know and don't understand it, and telling them to go find out when there's nothing to find out.
Well, I think of the missed opportunity that
has been
exists
an
now.
issue.
I know it's all revisionist history now, but think of the opportunity lost. If we were talking about Indigenous recognition in the Constitution that had about 90% support, I think, and we're 2 days out from that, how a unifying moment that would have been for the country.
Exactly.
That's the opportunity cost of going down this path.
Yeah. That's presuming that everyone, if that in isolation was being discussed, maybe some in politics would have still seen that as an opportunity to go, I'm going to take a different track on this.
Well, you think it's the opportunism that they're saying, I would have gone for that.
There's a big degree of opportunism to this, I think.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know what the counterfactual is.
No.
That's true.
Don't write 2 columns.
No.
It'll do your head in.
I want to see yours embracing the new Theberton development, mate.
Ah, yes. Well, I think it's time for Mighty Mitre 10, because that's relevant.
Mitre 10 out of 10 every time.
The Matt Abraham Crows headquarters has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Exactly.
At least part of it. Maybe the players' race or something like that.
No Crows player will live
The Matt Abraham Mitre 10 players' race.
No Crows player will live in poverty under Peter
By
Malinauskas.
1990.
Okay, now these are 2 little grabs for and we've buttered them together thanks to your excellent production staff. One is of Premier Peter Malinauskas at the press conference. I don't know if you saw it, but John Olsen behind him looked like he'd just reversed over the family cat rather than been given $15 million for free from the taxpayer yet again. But so this is Premier Peter Malinauskas, closely followed by a grab from your program of Crows chairman John Olsen.
That's a win-win-win. They're rare in terms of public policy, but we've got that today.
I think this is a win-win for the club and also the local community.
Now, wait a minute. Is it only a win-win for John Olsen, whereas it's a win-win-win for Peter Malinauskas? All those little kiddies who won't be on their iPad because they'll be booting footies around Theberton Oval. What a great strategy for getting kids out of the family room and out into the fresh air. Give $15 million to an elite bunch of footballers. I'm adding the win-win-win plus the win-win and giving him 5 out of 10.
10 out of 10 every
Look forward to seeing you at the ribbon cutting ceremony at the new headquarters as well, Matt. The Matt Abraham Centre for Excellence.
I'll be there on a horse with a sword.
William de Groot. Was that his name?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Keys. Tired of back pain? Time to try Keys at KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Burst water main to look out for today at Para Hills West Bridge Road at Maxwell Road. She's done at 40 k's to the lane close. Clearview crash on Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. Breakdown causing delays at Clovelly Valley Park this morning. South Road near Celtic Avenue. And at the moment, if you're heading south towards Victor, few delays there at Mount Compass. Victor Harbour Road is closed after an overnight crash. It's between Pages Flat Road and Lanacuna Road. Got a camera 2 trim operated seating. Enjoy exceptional savings on Mercedes-Benz demonstrator models and a 4.99% comparison rate when you finance with Mercedes-Benz Financial. Limited time, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The St John Christmas Home Lottery is here. This week's prize gives you a choice between 4 incredible vehicles, or you can cash out for $100,000 instant cash. What would you choose? Plus, all tickets go into the $5.2 million grand prize draw, including an exquisite West Lakes waterfront home, or choose $4.5 million in cash. Get your tickets at stjohnlottery.com.au before midnight Sunday for your chance to win. Licence number M14453.
Meet the girls from the FIVEAA Milk Company, your local milk company. This is Matilda. Over here we got Daisy and Charlotte. Grace. This is Alice. Who else have we got? Nicole. Beverly.
With more moo
Lucy.
in every bottle. Look for FIVEAA Milk Company at independent supermarkets and the Adelaide Central Market. 100% local, 100% preservative free.
Samantha. Barbara. She's a bit cheeky. Now, you'll know I love my local Mitre 10, or as those in the know like to call it, the other hardware store. It's my one-stop shop for all my DIY jobs, be it something indoors that needs to be fixed or out in the garden. They'll have everything you need. Look, the staff are great. They'll happily give you advice on the best products to help you get all those jobs done.
So if you're planning some home improvements or have some fix-it jobs to do, or you just want to spruce things up a bit around the home or in the garden, head into your local Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
For great prices on the right products for the job, along with helpful advice, choose the other hardware store, Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital Henley Beach. We all hear that access to general practitioners is increasingly difficult. Healthcare costs are escalating and many question the value for money when accessing GPs. Western GP Clinic are proud to boast a level of care and expertise encompassing a holistic approach, whilst providing a value option. To discuss your GP questions, call 1300 934 325. That's 1300 934 325 or visit westernhospitalgp.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
4 to 8, and it's time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing, and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
This is Jeopardy! And here's your host with all the questions, Jeff Morrow!
Welcome once again to Jeopardy, our carryover champion, Julia Stevens from Parkside. Hello, Julia.
Hi, Jeff.
And 2 other contestants we don't care about. Hi, Jeff. Yeah, whatever. Julia, you're only 1 round away from winning the grand prize, and let's get started. Here are your categories. Really bad decisions, totally out of touch with what the public wants, outrageously overpaid bunch of wackos, who cares what they think, and why don't we get rid of them and let the government take over? Let's get underway. Being carryover champion, your first pick, Julia.
I'll have really bad decisions for 200, thanks, Jeff.
Really bad decisions for 200. We decided not to let the Crows build a new aquatic centre, which would have cost nothing, but thought that letting the ratepayers cough up millions of dollars was much better.
What is the Adelaide City Council?
Correct.
I'll take outrageously overpaid bunch of wackos for 400, Jeff.
We spend hours and hours in pointless meetings at great expense to the ratepayer, deciding whether or not to say a stupid prayer at the start of all our pointless meetings.
What is the Adelaide City Council?
Correct.
I'll take totally out of touch for what the public wants for 800.
When I was an MP, I tried to move the popular 3-day horse event from the parklands in the city to Gawler.
Who is Jane Lomax Smith?
Correct.
Who cares what they think for 600, Jeff?
Here it is. We don't think letting people with RVs and camper vans should be allowed to have fun in Rymald Park, even though it will only be for 4 days, and gosh, we're an unreasonable collection of blowhards full of our own importance.
What is the Adelaide City Council?
Correct.
Why don't we get rid of them and let the government take over for 1,000, please, Jeff?
To take out the grand prize, Julia, here it is. In 1984, the New South Wales government sacked the entire Newcastle City Council because of continued infighting and bad decision-making. We'd better watch ourselves or it might happen to us, and then we wouldn't be able to sit on our spotty behinds in our privileged positions pretending we know what we're doing at vast expense to the South Australian taxpayer.
What is the Adelaide City Council?
Correct, Julia, and you are our grand champion!
Oh,
Here's what you've won. Take it away, John. Congratulations, Julia. You've won this incredible Smith & Erickson camper van from Great Western Outdoors. Your brand new deluxe camper van comes with a built-in kitchen and fridge compartment, a dual battery system so you can camp for a weekend without connecting to power. Perfect for camping in the parklands for the Velo 500. All compliments of Great Western Outdoors and Jeopardy! Join us again next time!
Hopefully coming soon, the FIVEAA sponsored trailer park for the supercars.
Cannot wait for that. Cannot wait for your sound-offs either, coming up after 8 o'clock. If you'd like to sound off for the smart dialer, 8223 is the number. We sounded off about the camper van, well, they call it the trailer park, but the caravan park in the parklands. You can sound off about whatever you like. 8223 Get calling now. This prize worth upwards of $400.
Some builders think a sloping block has limitations. When Beechwood Homes look at a sloping block, they think, the possibilities. Beechwood Homes know how to make the most of a sloping block. In fact, they specialise in them. Beechwood will design a home that works with the land you have, taking full advantage of every square metre. So if you're looking at a sloping block, go for it. Beechwood has your back. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
The 2.5-litre Nissan X-Trail has been awarded the 2023 Drive Car of the Year Best Medium SUV. And with Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses, you can drive the award-winning Nissan X-Trail ST for competitive weekly repayments that include the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Over 5,500 Adelaide businesses have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? One of the easiest ways to save is by switching out your old lighting to energy efficient LEDs. An on-site assessment can help to design the perfect LED lighting system for your business. And with rebates available, a full upgrade might cost as little as $33. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 19. With the 8 o'clock news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
Complete windscreen supply and fit, front, rear and door glass. Proudly South Australian since 1976.
A humanitarian crisis is unfolding on the Gaza Strip, where the sole power plant has run out of fuel. Israel has created a war cabinet as rockets hit a hospital in the country's south. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's bound for Israel as the first American support reaches the region. More from Jonathan Kersley.
President Biden reaffirmed the American commitment to Israel, describing the support as unshakable. He will meet with Jewish community leaders at the White House today. His Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on his way to the Middle East. American supplies are starting to arrive in Israel. A carrier strike group is in position, and National Security Council spokesman John Kirby has confirmed another aircraft carrier is on the way and could be added to the deployment. President Biden spoke again with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this morning, but US officials are not shedding any light on how Israel plans to respond inside Gaza.
While organisers are bracing for a complex rescue operation as they prepare to bring Australians stuck in Israel home. 2 repatriation flights have been organised out of the country. Our national carrier will fly citizens from Tel Aviv to London from Friday. Former Qantas pilot Richard de Crespigny has told Today it's a big job.
You need political clearances, military clearances to get into that airspace. Aircraft will have to be redeployed. But then when you're on the ground, maybe we need special forces to protect the aircraft. Maybe we need a medical team. So the military and the political part of Canberra will be on guard to look at all the possible threats.
British Airways and Virgin Atlantic have this morning suspended their flights to Tel Aviv. A man has died after a crash at Wollonga Hill last night. His car collided with a truck on Victor Harbour Road around 10 p.m. The 36-year-old man from Semaphore Park died at the scene. The truck driver and his 3-year-old passenger, both from Kangaroo Island, were not injured. The man's death is the 90th life lost on our roads this year. It was 57 at the same time a year ago. Australian journalist Chung Lei has spent her first night at home in Melbourne after 3 years in a Chinese jail. She was detained in 2020 amid claims she posed a risk to China's national security. She's now been released and reunited with her family. Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Lee says it's welcome news.
Well done to the government, and so lovely to see Chung Lei come home. Great work by our diplomats, working so carefully behind the scenes as well. They're not always acknowledged publicly, but the work they do is extraordinary.
One of the country's leading pollsters is predicting the Voice referendum will fail, saying the Yes camp needs to make up too much ground before Saturday's vote. At least 4 states need to support the referendum as well as the national average for it to get over the line. Redbridge Group Australia Director Cos Samaras says it's hard to see how the Yes vote will reach the numbers needed.
Everyone's been focusing on what the polling numbers look like, but we have to also focus on the reality, and that is that you actually need a double majority.
Free bowel cancer screenings being made available to younger Australians. New guidelines approved by the country's peak medical body will see testing kits provided to those aged 45, 5 years earlier than the current system. The changes will cost around $33 million more to fund. Pop singer Vanessa Amorosi will return to the Victorian Supreme Court today. She gives evidence against her mother, who she's embroiled in a legal dispute with. She's suing Joylene Robinson over the ownership of 2 properties, one in Melbourne and the other in California. Ms Amorosi claims her mother engaged in unconscionable conduct when she took control of her finances in 1990. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Port Adelaide big man Ollie Lord is a player being thrown up as a potential target from Geelong as the trade period enters day 4. The Power are keen to get Cats defender Asava Ratikalia to the club, but it's unlikely the Power's second-round selection will get a deal done. Lord still has a year to run on his current deal at Alberton. Meantime, Sydney has added more firepower to its list with Brodie Grundy and Taylor Adams both joining the Swans. To cricket now, Pat Cummins is backing spinner Adam Zampa to rebound after going wicketless in Australia's World Cup opener against India. The Aussies face South Africa tonight with the Proteas blasting 428 in their opening game. The captain says Zampa will bounce back.
His prep leading in, it was probably a bit lighter than he would normally have, but yeah, I wouldn't look too far into the last game. Thought he bowled okay, but it's pretty hard defending 200 and trying to create something out of nothing. So I think sure it'd be great out there. Again, if you have a bit more of a total to bowl to, he's one of our key guys.
And there was one game last night with the hosts, India, cruising to an 8-wicket win against Afghanistan. Chasing 273 to win, the home side did it with a massive 15 overs to spare, thanks largely to captain Rohit Sharma, who top-scored with 131. To tennis, top seed Carlos Alcaraz has been upset by Grigor Dimitrov in the 4th round of the Shanghai Masters. Meantime, South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis has been confirmed to play in this month's City of Playford tournament. And Lionel Messi has been ruled out of joining another team on loan when the Major League Soccer season ends. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now checking FIVEAA traffic.
Reimagine your home, elevate your life at 88 O'Connell Street Luxury Apartments. See 88o'connell.com.
First automate to look out for this morning at Para Hills West, Bridge Road at Maxwell Road. She's out of 40 k's to the lane closed there. Clearview, crash on Grand Junction Road at Hampstead Road causing delays. I got a breakdown at Clovelly Park this morning. She's inbound on South Road near Celtic Avenue. Pretty solid delays there too. Quite busy Brighton Road at Glenelg East with a camera. Jetty Road at Larks Bay. Frasier has re-entered the building. Don't miss the all-new season of Frasier, streaming this Friday only on Paramount Plus. New to Paramount Plus? Start your free trial today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or two and 19 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 19. Saturday, a shower or two, also 19, and more of the same for Sunday. At the moment, 11. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Breakfast on FIVEAA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
Eight minutes after 8. David Kosh coming up this hour on the program. What happened over
I
there?
forgot my role, Will. I thought you were just sitting there looking like a... your mind was elsewhere. You were listening to a bit of...
I was drifting off.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
So I'm sort of dressed in this leisure wear suit. That's why I was...
The leisure suit.
I'm in the leisure suit.
The leisure
There's
suit.
no tie, open neck. I sort of started getting a bit comfortable. That's what Peter Shearer can do for you.
The open collar.
Forget yourself.
Says, I look like I'm dressed for business, but I also like to party.
I look like, with the tinge of it... and
to quote Cal Norton Jr. there...
The no tie gives the effect, and it's a beautiful... Peter Shearer did a wonderful job, obviously, fitting these suits. I kind of feel like I'm about 6th on the ticket for the Green Senate position in South Australia.
Yeah. Six on the ticket, that high.
They don't run more than 6, do they?
Get on the Foodland Supermarkets live stream to check out Will in all his sartorial splendour. And folks, if you're out on the roads, be careful. It's blowing a gale out there. It's become really dark as well in the city, and rain bucketing down as well. Quite a stormy set of conditions out there.
Angie McBride actually messaged the program a short time ago. Said Mitcham, where she lives, copped a whole lot of hail and then some decent rain. Did you get hail where you are, folks? Let us know. 8223 0000 or text us on the Dutton's text line. It's time for Breaking It 8.
Well, Zoe Bettison, the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, has landed herself in a bit of strife. You've got to feel a degree of sympathy for her because she got put in the invidious position of having to deal with complaints from the local Ukrainian association about an upcoming dance performance by the Kalinka Russian Ensemble. Now, the Kalinka Russian Ensemble, it's basically like a dance group for little kids and teenagers. It's been around for years, but it's meant to be performing at the Multicultural Festival coming up next month. Now, the Ukrainian community, and I wonder whether they might have sort of got the wrong end of the stick about these dances, regarded it as some sort of pro-Moscow Russian propaganda exercise. The dance troupe say, look, we only wear traditional dress. We don't fly the Russian flag. It's just about a traditional folk dance that we love. Anyway, what's happened, and this was reported about a week or so ago, is that Zoe Bettison has banned this dance group from appearing at the Multicultural Festival. Well, since then, a couple of things have happened. The first, and this has been stated elsewhere, is that there's a change.org petition on behalf of these kids, arguing that they should have the right to dance. But further to that, I also understand that the minister is being taken to the Human Rights Commission over this decision. And beyond that, and it's going to become an issue in state parliament next week, the opposition are looking at it. Upper house independents, including Frank Pangello, are looking at it as well. And one of the things that's being alleged is that by her actions, the minister may have breached the government's own pro-multicultural charter by banning what supporters of this dance troupe say is nothing other than an innocent and fun-loving organisation aimed at celebrating dance and doing nothing to support or endorse Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. Bit of a shambles.
Are they supporting the illegal war in Ukraine, the dancers?
Well, I think one of them looks like she's about 6 years old.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think she's pretty ambivalent on it. Well, in fact, to not be flippant about it, the dance troupe as well have said that they totally stand with the Ukrainians.
Well, what are we doing?
Yeah, I know.
What are we doing?
Where does it stop and start?
I'm hardly a Putin sympathiser, but seriously.
No.
It's interesting the times we pick and choose which time the people are separate from the government, isn't it?
Yeah. And you set precedents like this, and clearly in the current climate, I mean, what if there's an Arabic dance troupe that's going to be performing? And what? So if Adelaide Jewish people say, well, we find that distressing, or conversely, the other way around.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want the assembled kiddie Zionist dancers there because it's going to upset our sort of Palestinian sensibilities.
If it was overtly political, it's the dance troupe here, and our music and dance is inspired by the occupation of Crimea. Then,
yeah,
okay,
right.
yeah, let's
exactly.
not have that one in town.
Child dancers for Vladimir Putin. That's a different kettle of fish.
They can skip Adelaide. Happy with that.
Yeah, but it's, as I said, I do. It's difficult, particularly for a government that has done a tremendous job standing in solidarity with Ukraine and enabling the acceptance, the terrific acceptance of so many displaced Ukrainians in the last 18 months. But then you get the request from the Ukrainian Association, and they're fired up about it. And the government goes, I don't know how they're going to manage it, but I think they're trying to find a fix.
Someone just texted on the Duttons text line, what about the Moscow Circus coming to Adelaide? Why isn't Zoe banning the Moscow Circus? Well, they got told to take the Ukrainian flags off. Okay, fine.
That was again from the Ukrainian Association as well. The complaint came from them to the Adelaide City Council too.
Not a lot of support for this coming through. Jane says, that's crap, cancelling the Russian dance show. Can't have it both ways, politicians. Say we're the best multicultural country and then don't allow this dance. That's rubbish. Thank you, Jane. 0480 1395 for your thoughts. Hail at Summertown, says Bianca. So we're having a bit of hail spotted across Adelaide at the moment.
Another text too from a listener who was caught in a hailstorm on Glen Osmond Road. There's plenty of time to enjoy the hailstorm on Glen Osmond Road at the moment. It's an absolute car park.
All right, it's time for a sound off. It's time to give away a Care Alert Smart Dialer on this Thursday morning. Love
Care
your
Alert.
sound offs.
We love Care Alert.
I love
too.
it when someone calls through immediately for their sound off too, because it means there's something they need to get off their chest. That person this morning is Tyson in Clarence Gardens. Tyson, we're going to get out of your way and give you 30 seconds of unfettered airspace in which to vent your spleen. Good morning. Take it away.
Dog owners, I need to talk to you. Stop putting your poo bags in my wheelie bin. I don't know how many times. Have a quick look. Bench. Now, I caught a guy the other day. I took the rubbish out and I handed it back to him, and the look on his face was disgust. That's my bin. Go to your place, put it in your little bin there, all back to your
Tyson's so upset his phone's distorting.
Tyson's anger has distorted airwaves. But we got enough of
He raises a good point.
The thrust of his argument is so clear, concise. We're giving him the Care Alert Smart Dialer.
Oh, for sure. I'm with him. Now, I've occasionally walk our dogs. My son walks them quite frequently. But I think it's a low act putting the doggy do bag in someone's silo bin. I reckon you take it home with you.
Especially when they've clearly had their bin just emptied.
Yeah.
So you're saying you can live with the dog poo for the next 7 days?
What about with a baby?
Oh, my God.
You have the nappy bag. You just put it in the bottom of the pram and take it home, don't you?
I reckon I've taken years off my life inhaling the toxins that come from those bags. Nothing in life prepares for you.
The lavender, sort of weird chemically lavender scent of those orange bags.
Nothing prepares you for the power of an odour that comes from a bag of a nappy bin.
Oh, yeah, no.
And then you put them all together in your bin. And I'm pretty sure if you light a match anywhere within about 10 metres, you send that thing into space.
Yeah, you would go off like a rocket. I think Tyson speaks for many people here.
Tyson, you've got a Care Alert Smart Dialer coming your way. That was a magnificent sound off. Despite the phone dropping out, we got it though. We heard it loud and clear. You make an excellent case. Thank you. Good sound off. Lynn in Plimpton Park's called in. You having some hail there, Lynn?
Yes, we certainly did. How are you going?
Good, thanks,
this morning.
Lynn. Good, thank you.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you got it up in town. This is the worst hail we've had for a while.
David, live on the air, is going to have a look at the windows. Damaged anything at your place, Lynn?
Well, I've got a structo veranda on the back, and I've got that clear perspex lock on the corner where the sunshine comes through. You know, that's copped it a couple of times, but believe it or not, I thought it was going to go, but I've got it secured until I get it fixed properly. But I've copped it a couple of times, but that was really heavy that came through, and I was just laying in bed listening to you actually on the radio, and next minute I thought, my God, that's getting a bit willing out there, getting a bit heavy.
Yeah.
And as I got up, I could hear the hail, and when I looked out the front, I've got a few plants and that out the front, and they're actually under cover on the veranda, and they're blowing with the wind. See, it depends. I think it's where you are. Depends which area you are.
Yeah, sure.
And I had pots plants that was under the veranda that blew out onto the paths. And of course, where I am, we're in a set of units, and I just run around and checked to see if everything was still secure around the place, you know.
Yeah.
But,
hey, Lynn, have you got a FIVEAA breakfast mug?
No, I haven't.
We'll get one out to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
No worries.
I just bought the kettle, actually, after running around and checking on things.
Perfect.
Oh, excellent.
We might not get it there in time for this cuppa, but very soon.
Yeah, I just bought the kettle.
Good on you, Lynn.
Good on you,
Thank
Lynn.
you for calling in. Lots of reports of hail and thunder.
Days like today, I've got heaps of writing to do this afternoon for the papers for the weekend, and I love the idea of like dark rain. Put like
You don't want to be hot and sunny.
a good record on in the background, just sit in the study. It's going to be a nice afternoon.
Hail and thunder at Glengowrie too. We had a small earthquake in South Australia last night at Burra, just after 7 o'clock. Yeah, 2.6 magnitude earthquake in Burra, just after 7 o'clock. I wonder if anyone in Burra felt it. If you did, let us know. 8223 I wasn't big enough that anyone's called. Our phone hasn't been ringing off the hook with tales of the destruction of the Burra earthquake of 2023. But
all the pasties were trembling.
Let's check traffic thanks to Keezer. Are you tired of back pain? Time to try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Windy with some thunderstorms and passing showers in a few areas this morning. Take it easy on the drive in. Look out for a burst water main at Harrow Hills West. Bridge Road at Maxwell Road, speeds at 40. Residual delays from nearly a crash at Clearview, Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road, and sluggish at the moment at Clay Valley Park. Got a breakdown there. This one's on South Road near Celtic Avenue. Look out for camera 2, Hart Street at Semaphore. Solitaire Volkswagen is SA's largest Volkswagen dealership with unbeatable deals on new and demonstrator vehicles. Visit Solitaire Volkswagen, Hawthorn and Medindi. DL 65541. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
What I've found out, some time ago we were talking about, is Live Golf going to go on? Because, Grange had said we got it for 3 more years.
Yes, they have.
So I've done a little bit of homework and I've got...
We were the best tournament in the Southern Hemisphere.
Correct. It's going to happen the week after Gathering.
Oh, wow.
Rowie and Timmy G.
They would have seen Live Golf last year and gone, wow, how good was that? We have to go to that.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Reimagine your home, elevate your life at 88 O'Connell Luxury Apartments. There's 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments now selling from $1.2 million. 88 O'Connell is redefining residential luxury with amenities never seen before in Adelaide. From a New York-inspired sky deck, Mercato fresh produce market, wine bar, integrated wellness studios, sauna, pools and allied healthcare. To learn more, visit our display suite or inquire at 88o'connell.com.
Thinking of getting a solar battery? Well, sadly, they're not going to get cheaper like we thought 10 years ago. But the ability to pay them off is incredibly easier now than it was back then. I recommend getting in touch with NRG Solar to get a battery for your home with a 10-year warranty, blackout protection that will save you thousands of dollars, all visible on a simple-to-use app. Enjoy the feeling and benefits of owning a solar battery sooner. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Now, the fastest accelerating machines on Earth are set to launch at the Dragway at the Bend Spring Nationals, featuring round 1 of the Australian Top Fuel Championship.
Don't miss the 11,000 horsepower, 500 kilometre per hour drag racing action, along with over 200 of Australia's fastest cars and bikes, battling it out to be the inaugural class champion.
There's entertainment for the whole family across 2 spectacular days, with qualifying on Saturday the 21st of October and eliminations the following day, Sunday the 22nd of October.
Do not miss it, the grand opening of Dragway at the Bend, featuring round 1 of the Australian Top Fuel Championship, October 21 and 22.
Visit the website thebend.com.au for tickets and the event schedule, and it's really well priced because kids 15 and under get in free, and remember to bring your earplugs because you're going to need them.
When it comes to blinds and curtains, always start with the 3 Bs. Bob Burns Blinds. They've been manufacturing blinds in Adelaide for over 60 years using the very best materials. With a keen eye for detail, innovation and style, from interior and exterior blinds to stunning shutters and curtains, including motorisation and security products, always start with the 3 Bs. Bob Burns Blinds. Visit the new showroom at 1239 South Road, St Mary's, or jump online at bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Know the news with Adelaide's 7 News. Don't miss Adelaide's leading news hour tonight at 6 o'clock.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Know someone finishing school and looking for an apprenticeship or a traineeship? Visit maxima.com.au.
23 minutes after 8. This is a first, bit of a sign of the times in the modern world, I think. The excellent Headley Thomas, who has received rightfully so many plaudits and accolades for his excellent Teacher's Pet podcast, has now released a book, which I think marks one of the first times the audio version's come out before the book version of something. But it's quite possibly is going to be the way of the future. He's joined us many times over the course of the release of the podcast, but subsequently the trial of Chris Dawson, and does again this morning on the occasion of the release of his book, The Teacher's Pet. Headley Thomas, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys, and thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, we always love catching up with you, Headley. So, mate, a lot of our listeners will know the story of Lynette Sims, later Lynette Dawson, and her the terrible fate she fell at the hands of a monster of a husband, Chris Dawson, who now mercifully been found guilty of her murder. In terms of the telling of the story, how does it differ doing it in book form from podcast form?
Mate, I wanted to try to take readers of this book behind the scenes of newspaper journalism and investigative journalism, and also show how the criminal justice system works and sometimes utterly fails, and do that in the kind of detail that I've been able to unpack in the pages of a book, that because the podcast was moving so quickly in 2018, I was releasing weekly episodes and under the pump, I couldn't sometimes go back and relate really significant findings and discoveries. And of course, there's a huge amount of things that happen after Chris Dawson is charged, because for about 3.5 years, the podcast and the journalism that was the ballast of the podcast effectively went on trial as Chris Dawson's lawyers, under instruction from their murdering client, decided that his best shot at getting off this was to show that he couldn't get a fair trial because I'd been unfair or too biased.
Yeah, which was the ultimate try-on. There's something about a book, though, and particularly because I've got an image of you, mate, because you spent so many years working on this. I mean, was there a room at your house where it almost looked like one of those wallscapes out of Law and Order, or something with names and dates and places?
But when the podcast was being written and my office was filled with stuff, I moved a lot of files up to the dining room table, and my wife and children, would sort of be unfortunately having to sit down one end of the table while folders, documents, and evidence of a murder occupied the other end. But there have been multiple areas of the house that have been taken over by this case, including parts of the carport roof. And I'm just glad I'm a bit of a hoarder, Pembo. I've kept files on this for 22 years.
Wow.
Have you been intrigued by the manner in which the genre has exploded over the time in which you started the podcast? You were a trailblazer when you started, but now not only is it such a popular way to digest true crime content, but I mean, it gets satirised in shows like Only Murders in the Building and so forth.
Yeah, look, it's amazing, isn't it? I was an absolute rookie when I started and didn't understand, microphone technique. I still don't, but I had a fantastic audio producer in Slade Gibson, and he was also an amazing musician, and he did all the music. I think that people have increasingly loved this format because they form an emotional and almost personal connection with both the storyteller and the people who are part of the case, and they can work out pretty quickly from the way that someone is telling their story or witnesses are talking, whether they trust that person, whether there's real authenticity in their voice. And the reason the podcast and the audio, I think, does so well is, in my experience, when the camera is switched on, and I don't mean any disrespect to our TV colleagues, it's not their fault, but people change when they're being filmed as opposed to when they're just being recorded for audio. And I got a lot more, I think, genuine, original information from people without any kind of acting or self-consciousness about the camera.
Yeah, because it just feels more like a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Well, Headley, it's going to be a terrific read. I haven't had a chance to delve into it yet, but I'm excited about reading it, particularly the point you make about the sort of the craft of how you approached it all. Headley Thomas, he is, without peer in Australia, totally deserved winner of the Gold Walkley for the work that he did on this. Great talking to you, mate, and all the very best for the book.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
28 minutes after 8, we have Paul McCartney's shortlist to add someone to in the next half hour of the program. Stay listening. We'll play a grab. You'll be the first caller through. You're on the list to be drawn very, very shortly to get along to see Sir Paul McCartney next Wednesday night at the Entertainment Centre. 5AA News is coming up. David Kosh, not too far away.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, Your Energy Saving Solutions. What's keeping you? Your Energy Saving Solutions can connect you with the SA government initiative called REPS. To save money on heating this winter, Yes is offering eligible households a 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $699. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. Flurio Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, Flurio Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. Flurio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
When it comes to talking retirement, parents will change the subject to anything. And I mean anything. There's things you just can't unhear. So save yourself the overshares. Talk to them about retirement at Warner Close, Murray Bridge instead. With no messy contracts and no hidden fees, your parents can get all the perks of retirement and the support they need without giving up their freedom. Have the retirement talk with your parents. Visit warnerclose.com.au. SA Community Owned.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 19. With the 8:30 news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Israel is forming an emergency war cabinet as the country grapples with the worst security crisis in decades. 1,200 people have been killed in Israel after Hamas launched terrorist attacks. More than 1,100 have been killed in airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. A total blockade is now in place over Gaza, where a humanitarian crisis is unfolding after the Seoul power plant ran out of fuel and shut down. Mohammed's in Gaza and says innocent people are being caught in the crossfire.
People behind us were killed. There were barrel bombs that exploded all over the area. Homes were destroyed. Everything is gone. No one can enter their homes. There's no food, nowhere to live. We can't even eat or feed our children. We can't live like this.
While parents are being warned about the impact watching distressing content on social media apps could have on their children, parents are being urged to temporarily delete apps from their kids' phones like TikTok and Instagram. Child and adolescent psychologist Dr. Michael Carr-Gregg says if kids watch this type of material, there could be short, medium and long-term impacts.
All children have a right to feel that the world is a safe, predictable place. Watching this sort of material will put a major dent in that assumption, and that's not good for the psychological development of our kids.
And 2 repatriation flights will leave tomorrow to help Australians stranded in Israel return home. There's concern about commercial airlines cutting services to Tel Aviv as fighting intensifies. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says it's still not known how many Australians have been caught up in the fighting.
Part of the issue, of course, is there are so many Australians in the area that it's not completely clear how many are there, let alone how many are unaccounted for. So what we're doing is working through these issues.
Well, British Airways and Virgin Atlantic have suspended their flights to Tel Aviv after Hamas said it had attacked the Israeli airport. Supporters of journalist Chung Lei say more work needs to be done to ensure the release of other Australians being detained in China. She's back on home soil after being jailed by Beijing for 3 years. Australian writer Young Hen Jun is still in prison accused of espionage. Independent MP Sophie Scomp says Ms Chung's release is welcome, but the fight isn't over yet.
I do think we have to celebrate the amazing Australian diplomacy that obviously occurred behind the scenes, and let's just take this as a big win, and obviously there's more work to do with other Australians in China.
SA's road tolls hit 90 after a man died at Wollonga Hill last night. Police were called to Victor Harbour Road around 10 after a truck and car collided. A 36-year-old man from Semaphore Park died at the scene. Victor Harbour Road's been closed to all traffic between Pages Flat Road and Yundy Road. A small earthquake has rocked Burra in the state's mid-north. It registered 2.6 on the Richter scale. And Disneyland's hiking its tickets by 10%. It follows a number of Disney movies which have flopped in the past few years and comes as it plans to invest $60 billion into its theme parks. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. There are reports Melbourne will offer South Aussie Harrison Petty a beefed-up deal as the AFL trade period enters day 4. The 23-year-old's attracting plenty of interest from the Crows and has received a big offer, but the D's are keen to keep him with 2 years still to run on his current contract. Meantime, St Kilda and Collingwood will be looking to up their discussions with Fremantle after a swathe of deals were finalised yesterday. The Magpies' focus is now on Docker forward Lockie Schultz after trading Taylor Adams to Sydney. While speaking on the Trade Wrap podcast, analyst Matthew Lloyd says the Saints will need a big offer to lock away Liam Henry.
I think St Kilda will have to cough up. Liam Henry's a top 10 selection in the draft, and he's played 50 or 60 games, so St Kilda are going to have to cough up.
Their first pick's 45 at the moment, Fremantle.
Yeah, so that's right. So they need to get 2 picks inside, 1 pick inside around 15, 1 for Henry, 1 pick inside 20 for Schultz, and that looks a lot better for them.
To cricket, Australia will take on South Africa tonight, looking to register a first win at the World Cup when they clash in Lucknow. There was one match last night with India, 8-wicket winners against Afghanistan. South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis will be joined by fellow Aussie and defending champion Rinky Hijikata for the City of Playford tennis event, which will be held later this month. And the Major League Baseball playoffs have resumed again for another day. The Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Atlanta Braves in Game 3 of their best-of-7 series in Philly. It's currently in the 3rd inning with scores locked at 1-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Reimagine your home, elevate your life at 88 O'Connell Street Luxury Apartments. See 88o'connell.com.
Windy with thunderstorms and showers in few areas this morning. Take it easy on the drive into work today. Look out for a burst water main at Para Hills West. Bridge Road at Maxwell Road speeds at 40. Clough Valley Park a breakdown causing a few delays inbound South Road near Celtic Avenue. And at Crayford speeds are now at 80 on the freeway down track due to guardrail damage from a smash overnight. Win over $2.7 billion in today's USA Power Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes in less than 2 hours. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or two and 19 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 19. A shower or two Saturday, also 19, and more of the same for Sunday. At the moment, 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For nearly 40 years, no one has done certified used cars quite like Steinborner Automotive, with dedicated yards including SA's best range of commercials loaded and ready to go, including SA's only dedicated small car and SUV centre, and SA's only large SUV and 4x4 centre suited for any lifestyle. Steinborner still also has the best range of Commodores from ZBs to the collectibles. View all late model used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Know someone finishing school and looking for an apprenticeship or a traineeship? Visit maxima.com.au.
23 to 9. We'll go behind closed doors shortly. The host, well, the former host, I can't stop doing it. The chairman of the Port Adelaide Football Club, David Kosh, in a moment.
He won't mind.
I'll adjust. At some point in time, I'll get around to it. Lots of Dutton's texts coming through as well.
One here, oh my God, Headley Thomas is amazing. My favourite podcast by a country mile. Greg, showing that we are living in the fairly tumultuous spring weather. patterns at the moment. He says, weather report here from Murray Bridge. Sun shining, temperature at the moment is 18. I just hung some washing on the line. Lovely day. Well, you might want to go and check the washing's still there in about an hour, mate, if the weather ends up heading your way, because you wouldn't want to have any on the washing in town right now.
Visit Dutton's Murray Bridge to check out the Mazda demo clearance. Dutton's, easy to do business with.
And they could never tear us apart.
This week, a board shake-up that I think our listeners responded well to. Were you surprised at all about the manner of it, the timing of it, when it will take place, specifically as it relates to Chairman Richard Goyder?
Look, I was a little surprised. It had to come because even I was getting sort of feedback from big Ampol institution, Qantas institutional investors, sort of casting doubt on how the board had performed with Alan Joyce. So, I think Richard Goyder read the room. The Qantas annual meeting is coming up in a couple of weeks. It was going to be fiery. There had been some sort of allegations of conflicts of interest between fund managers and major shareholders on Qantas. So it was going to be a bit of a circus. So I think Richard Goyder, quite rightly, sort of gave a timeline for his departure, a process to get a replacement at Qantas. So, I think it was inevitable. Otherwise, the annual meeting could have been a debacle.
Hey, Kosh, I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, mate, but the other, you
whenever
probably know.
Whenever you say that, I know you are going.
Oh, yeah, I am. Okay, it was a completely disingenuous qualifier, and you saw right through me. But we've known each other for too long. You probably know the question I'm going to ask. There was the other hat that Richard Goyder wears is the chairmanship of the AFL, and there's been speculation that he might not stay in that role in perpetuity. Mick Warner, who I think is one of the most respected and well-connected football writers in the country, he did a piece a few weeks ago putting your name forward as a potential chairman of the AFL. Is that a job you have interest in? And is it something that, should that vacancy emerge, you would be prepared to have a think about doing it?
Look, all of the clubs, remember the clubs own the AFL for a start. And so all of the clubs and all the club presidents have more than a passing interest into the makeup of the commission. As you, AFL Commission, as you know, I'm on the nominations committee. There are about 4 or 5 presidents and 2 commissioners, including Richard Goyder, that go through the process of appointing new commissioners, which we've just done 2 new ones. So we're always looking to evolve the commission, make sure it represents the clubs, it represents the game responsibly. So I'm passionate about AFL as a code, and I want to make sure that the commission is right and is well represented, has all of the skills it needs to run Australia's premier sport. As for my role, and I'm very happy as president of Port Adelaide. We've still got a lot to do. We've got to become a much better finals team. We're a good home and away team. Got to be a much better finals team off field. We've got a big program of redeveloping Alberton and the surrounds of Alberton. So I've got well and truly enough on my plate at the moment.
Koshy, do you ask the state government for a please explain it all about the $15 million that the Crows have been given for their new headquarters?
No, well, the Premier, who's a good portman, has, I think, made it public right from the very start that any support for the Crows Theberton sort of renewal there will be matched with any projects from Port Adelaide. So we're quite happy with that.
You can't cancel his membership?
No. Anyhow, I won't tell tales out of school. put it this way, he's a great supporter of AFL, both the Crows and ourselves, and understands the economic benefit that we bring to the state. And if we're going to do that, we need to remain competitive in terms of facilities, both clubs, compared with other interstate teams that get a lot more support from their state governments than we have in the past. Having said that, support from the state government of South Australia has been incredibly generous over the years. In Victoria and WA, it's another level. So for us to compete, both clubs on that national stage, we need the right facilities behind us, and we're really thankful that the state government does support us in the way it does.
Because you've had the big upgrade at Alberton, but I guess you, as a chairman and as a board, you would look at something like the Malinowskis announcement from the other day and get together and say, all right, well, let's have a think. What more do we need? And is it something where you're almost going to draw up a wish list and go to the government saying you've set that precedent?
We already have plans for stage 2 of the redevelopment or stage 3 after the precinct and the high performance centre. We've got we've got a 15-year plan for Alberton in stages along the way. So we're well and truly planning stage, sort of architects' drawings drawn up, speaking with the council for quite a long period of time. So, after we finish the high performance centre, which final handover is middle of January, then there are other parts of the precinct that we want to develop so we have non-football revenues coming into the club that aren't dependent on football, to make sure our football program is fully funded forever for the next 30, 40 years. So that's the time horizon that we've been planning at the moment.
Kosh is a long-time Sydney resident now. Were you shocked by the scenes on the steps of the Opera House, the pro-Palestinian protest that took place?
Yep. Look, everyone can have their views, but Australian values are, I think, just sensational, and that protest went against Australian values. You can have an opinion, and the Middle East has opinions that are extraordinarily divided over history, over hundreds of years, and we don't want that baggage of history coming anywhere near this country. So some of the claims and slogans that were being shouted are just abhorrent, and no place in a community like ours. Yes, you can have opinions, but this country is built on respect and fairness, and that didn't show it.
100%. Always great catching up with you, Dave. David Kosh, the chairman of the Port Adelaide Football Club. And
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Mate, I tell you, if you do want to launch the campaign, the FIVEAA Breakfast Show, we stand ready to do everything we can to get right behind you.
Good on you.
Good on you, mate. Good on you, Koshy. 14
It'd be good.
Absolutely.
I think Koshy would be a good chairman.
Someone that actually understands football in South Australia.
Be good to have a South Australian running it. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Just jokes, Gil.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Keezer. You're tired of back pain? Well, time to try Keezer. KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. A few passing showers and thunderstorms on the drive-in. Take it easy and look out for a burst water main at Para Hills West, Bridge Road at Maxwell Road. Down to 40 k's at the moment. Smash at Croydon's on the north-south motorway near Hawker Street, and speeds down to 80 on the freeway around Crayford. She's on the down track due to guardrail damage from an overnight crash. Got a camera 2, Bartley Terrace at West Lake Shore. Don't miss the Coles 3-day online-only flash sale with exclusive specials, extra flyby points to collect, and more Friday till Sunday at coles.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA mornings today, the Australian Electoral Commission ahead of the Voice referendum on Saturday. Your last chance to ask questions, and we'll look at the pro-Palestine rally to be held on the steps of State Parliament on Sunday. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company from 9.
Dreaming of a new car? Make it happen at Solitaire Volkswagen. As South Australia's largest Volkswagen dealership, we have plenty of stock available now for immediate delivery with unbeatable deals on new and demonstrator vehicles. Now is the time to visit Solitaire Volkswagen at Hawthorn and Medindi, DL 65541.
You've decided to build? It's exciting stuff. When you've found land, it's a good idea to get advice on what you can build on your new parcel of paradise. Get Steve from Beechwood Homes to take a look. There's no obligation, and you'll get a great understanding of what's possible. Sloping block, flat block, weird shaped block, or block on a cliff. Speak with Steve from Beechwood Homes for all the possibilities. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Now, I'm going to get you to redefine your definition of something. I'm going to get you to redefine where you live and what luxury means. If you didn't think that was possible, you've got to have a look at 88 O'Connell Luxury Apartments. They're 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments now selling from $1.2 million. These apartments are redefining the definition of residential luxury with amenities never seen before in Adelaide.
Yeah, have a listen to these features. A New York-inspired Skydeck, Mikado Fresh Produce Market, wine bar, integrated wellness studios, sauna, pools and allied healthcare for anyone thinking of a fresh start in a beautiful apartment with the choice of peaceful parkland or CBD vibrancy at your door. You must check out 88 O'Connell. If you'd like to learn more, plan a visit to the display suite or inquire at 88o'connell.com.
Right now with Bupa, get up to 8 weeks free when you join on eligible products. Plus, you won't have to reserve waiting periods you've already served. T's and C's apply. Search Bupa 8 weeks free today.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
Time for Fuel Watch. Download the free RAA app today to find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Generally, fuel prices have jumped. You're going to see it at $2.20 in some places in Adelaide this morning, but there are still a few that have been a bit slow to raise costs.
I saw yesterday $1.75. I think it's a Liberty, the one opposite the Marion Hotel, and the queue on the Marion Road was there were about 6 cars.
Wow.
I thought there'd been an accident because they're heading north along Marion Road, and it was like the old mixed scorepost days. Crazy.
Well, these are super cheap now in the context of what's happening broadly. The United Prospect Road Blair Athol's at $1.79.3. The Coles Express Port Road Queenstown $1.78.9. The Liberty South Road Clarence Gardens, was it that Liberty? $1.79.5.
No, this was Marion, the one I saw.
The United Portrush Road Glenunga, $1.79.9. The cheapest diesel, the Liberty Petters Crescent Regency Park, $2.06.9.
I was thinking of the one near where Bilo used to be, Will.
Bilo.
Remember Bilo?
When was the last time there was a Bilo?
I don't know. Any of our listeners work for Bilo? I reckon heaps of them.
Did they exist in the 2000s or did they go out in the 90s, Bilo?
My sister worked at Bilo.
Yeah,
Marion.
they were everywhere.
I'm trying to think what years she was there. I reckon 80...
06, they were bought out by Coles.
06?
Wow, that recent.
Yeah.
Lisa in Millswood has called in. Lisa, you were the first caller through, having heard Paul McCartney a moment ago. So you're on the short list to go see him next Wednesday night. Make sure your diary's free. We've obviously got to draw it out of the hat. Have you seen Sir Paul before?
No, I haven't. But looking forward to it if I do get to go. It'll be amazing.
Well, fingers crossed for you, Lisa. You're a big fan of his work and the Beatles?
Oh, certainly, yeah. Beatles, grew up with my parents playing it all the time. So,
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Great band. So, well, good luck.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Great. Thank you.
No worries.
I'm excited. Okay.
Right. It's time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
1395, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Richard Pascoe.
and welcome along to the program. I'm glad you could join me today. If you want to call me up, you can do that and talk about anything you like. But of course, most of you will ring up with your questions about what's wrong with your mobile phone or why your email doesn't work. Because I am the Adelaide Tech Guy, it's difficult to convince people that I do have other skills besides that. It's a bit like being Bob Denver and forever typecast as Gilligan. Anyway, let's get on with it. And by the way, if I was on that island, I could have fixed the radio for them and we wouldn't have needed the professor. I love having my next guest on from Channel 7 News, Mike Smithson. G'day, Mike.
G'day, Richard. Nice to be on with you again.
What's happening, Mike?
Well, let me just tell you that in the AFLW clash between Crows and Melbourne, it's all locked away at 2-4.
Oh, great. And don't forget Port versus Sydney on 5AA after I finish here today with the great Sam Tugwell and Jenny Williams.
I was just about to mention the same thing myself, and Sam Tugwell deserves the Persistence Award, as does Josh Sampson, who spend most of their time selflessly working at 5AA and doing a lot of great work.
They do, Mike, as opposed to all the other people who work here who get paid.
Oh, don't Sam and Josh get paid?
Well, by the way we're talking about them, Mike, it certainly sounds like they don't.
Yeah, well, we've made it sound like they're doing it just for love.
We certainly have, Mike. I mean, you wouldn't find David and Will doing it without being paid.
No, that's right, or even John Blake, who only does an hour a night and doesn't work Fridays.
No, that's right, and all those others during the day and in the newsroom, they all get paid for working here.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm really glad we singled out Sam Tugwell and Josh Sampson for apparently doing much better work than everybody else.
They're great, aren't they, Mike?
They really are.
Well, they do a great job.
They do.
And Josh, they are sort of everywhere, man. Like our own Sam Daddo is.
Oh, yeah.
They're sort of the no more gaps of the 5AA.
No more
force.
gaps. Absolutely.
All right. Whilst we've been speaking, the Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, just held a press conference. Let's have a quick listen to what she had to say.
I'd like to make a few comments about the hostages. We join with all in calling for the hostages to be released. This has no place in today's world. We have also witnessed a devastating loss of civilian life across both Israel and, of course, Gaza. Australia's position is always to advocate for the protection of civilian lives in all contexts, and we do so again. I note that there are reports of the United States working with others to try and establish a safe corridor out of Gaza into Egypt, and we support the US efforts in that regard. The Australian government's guiding principle has always been the pursuit of peace. The pursuit of peace, and a just and enduring peace, a two-state solution which enables both the Palestinian peoples and the Jewish peoples to live within safe borders, internationally recognised borders.
Going to be hearing plenty from Penny Wong over the upcoming weeks, and the Prime Minister, you'd imagine, on this subject matter.
Hamas have put out a statement in the last hour saying they've released 3 hostages. Well, they get a gold star for that, do they? 1,200 dead, 2,005. Sorry. More than 2,000 people still critical as well.
Exciting new policy direction, isn't it? Not killing innocent people.
Yeah.
3 of them anyway.
There are dozens more still. Who knows where they are, what state they're in.
We should point out too that yesterday became sort of a semi-political talking point. The repatriation flights that we hadn't heard much about for Australians. The Prime Minister addressed that in the last 24 hours.
We understand that many Australians are experiencing difficulties with delays and cancellations with commercial flights. For Australians who do not already have plans to leave through commercial options, Australian government-assisted departure flights will depart from Friday.
And speaking of clarifications, we mentioned earlier, we misread ever so slightly the earthquake report from the Bureau of all the seismologists at just before 8:30 this morning. 7 o'clock this morning it took place.
In Burra?
In Burra this morning, just over 2 on the Richter scale. It was only a very small tremor. We didn't get a lot of activity calls or texts about it. Certainly overshadowed by the hail and rain we've had in Adelaide.
Burra vows we will rebuild.
Burra, we are right behind you.
That's right. Burra will be all right. It's a tough place. It's where all the Cornish arrived. Well, my forebears rocked up there. I think it was in about 1880. A whole bunch of copper miners came out on a boat.
Really?
Yeah. That's why they call it the Copper Coast up there. Through to Kadina and beautiful part of the world.
It must be disappointing when you work for Geoscience Australia and you put out the information and everyone says, "Really?"
Yeah, try harder. Must try harder.
Okay, cool. A very Australian earthquake. Understated.
Yeah, very laconic.
Not destructive. That's what we like.
That's right.
We're out of time. Matt Pantelis is coming up after 5AA News. We'll be back with a meat tray tomorrow morning, Friday morning. Looking forward to it. We'll catch you then. Stick around.
When you choose Keaton, you can retire with confidence your way. Whether you're after more space or less, a change of scenery, or a new home nearby, our retirement